BYU quarterback Jake Retzloff has been officially dismissed. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
The attorneys for both Retzloff and his unnamed accuser, they filed joint paperwork this morning. And at 9:57 a.m., the judge signed it. KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas says that means the case is over.
It says that the parties agreed to dismiss this case with prejudice, which means it can never be brought again, and upon the merits of plaintiff's complaint. In other words, they're saying she didn't have any merit.
I contacted the attorney's office representing Retzloff. They said they would issue a public statement sometime later this week. KSL Sports is reporting Jake Retzloff told his teammates and coaches that he is going to transfer. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
We have also reached out to BYU and their athletics department. So far, we have not heard a response. We have all the details on this case posted at KSLNewsRadio.com. We will also talk to KSL Sports BYU insider Mitch Harper about the latest developments coming up at 12:15. Any minute now, a judge will sentence a man convicted of murdering 2 toddlers in a horse corral in Eagle Mountain back in 2022. A jury found Kent Cody Barlow guilty of 2 counts of murder in the deaths of 3-year-olds Hunter Jackson and Odin Ratliff. Barlow was high on meth while driving his car around 120 miles per hour and crashed into the Cedar Valley stables where Hunter and Odin were playing. Barlow, by law, will have to serve at least 15 years in prison. Hunter and Odin's family are asking that he be sentenced to life in prison. We have a reporter in the courtroom, and we'll update you when the judge has made his decision. KSL's top national stories. Authorities have now identified the shooter they believe shot and killed 2 firefighters in Idaho. ABC's Alex Stone begins our team coverage in Coeur d'Alene.
Our sources are saying we have now ID'd the suspect, Wes Rowley, found dead in these woods here. Now, if he killed himself, if he was killed by a police bullet, they don't know. We know the ATF is working to trace the one weapon he had. They are searching the woods today to figure out if there are any more weapons that he had in these woods. They haven't found any yet. They know of the one.
Investigators believe 20-year-old Rowley intentionally set that fire before firing shots at the responding firefighters, killing 2 and injuring another. Utah's top fire official is calling this an unthinkable tragedy. Our team coverage continues live with KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera. Eric?
Maria, unthinkable, inexcusable. That's how Utah State Fire Marshal Ted Black describes the deadly ambush in Coeur d'Alene, where officials say a man set a fire to lure in firefighters, then opened fire. Black tells me he's already talking with his teams about safety on the job because even when they're racing toward danger, this wasn't the kind they expected.
I have reminded my staff this morning the importance of situational awareness, to be aware of the bigger surroundings, to keep yourself safe. I would imagine a similar conversation has been had all over the country.
He says Utah crews are heartbroken but ready to help if Idaho needs backup. Live, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
The Forsyth fire is now 26% contained after burning for nearly 2 weeks. Officials say it's burned almost 13,000 acres. People who live in the New Harmony community will be meeting later tonight to discuss what's next. Meanwhile, the France Canyon fire is still burning in southern Utah. It's burned 32,900 acres and is about 24% contained. State Route 12 and Highway 89 are still open in that area, as well as Bryce Canyon National Park. Other national stories KSL is following. The Senate's vote-a-rama for President Trump's budget bill is underway. ABC's Jay O'Brien has the latest from Capitol Hill.
The Senate right now is beginning that vote-a-rama. This is a long marathon series of amendments, largely brought by Democrats, although there will be some amendments brought by Republicans, trying to change various sections of this legislation. Most of those Democratic amendments, actually all of those Democratic amendments, expected to likely fail.
Minority Leader Chuck Schumer did not mince words when talking about the budget bill on the Senate floor.
Senate Republicans have to decide: choose the American people or bow down to Donald Trump and his coterie of billionaires.
If this does pass the Senate, it's not ready for the president's signature. Afterward, the bill will go back to the House to consider the Senate changes. Now absent from the bill is Senator Mike Lee's proposed public lands sale provision. He had been getting a lot of pushback from other lawmakers and his constituents. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla has more.
The senator took to X to explain his decision, saying he was not able to secure clear, enforceable safeguards to guarantee the lands would be sold to only American families. He added there has been a lot of misinformation about his bill, but some members of the community did bring up some genuine concerns. Lee says he's been listening to those members, local leaders, and stakeholders across the country. He is standing firm in his belief that the federal government owns too much land and says he will continue to work with President Trump to put underutilized land to work for American families. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
It's time for First Look Traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky Meese.
Good afternoon, Maria. 2 right lanes blocked with a stalled vehicle and accident. Westbound 40th south at 4700 west in Weber County. No backups in the area, though. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
Whether you're building your $1 million dream home, giving your current home a facelift, or just trying to get it out of the minor leagues, Peach Windows and Doors brings the big league look.
Modern style, energy efficiency, clean lines, tough builds, and curb appeal that hits like a home run. Not sure what you need? No sweat. Peach has the coaching staff to get your home in the game. No pressure, no gimmicks, just solid game plans and pro-level results to help you knock it out of the park.
Come see for yourself big, beautiful windows that bring the outside in. Visit Peach Windows and Doors showroom, big enough to spark ideas, small enough to feel right at home. It's time to step up your game and make your house the MVP of the neighborhood. Why live in the minor leagues when you can swing like $1 million? Peach Windows and Doors, because real homes play like champions. Visit peachdoorsandwindows.com or call 801-566-1255 for your free consultation.
That's Peach Windows and Doors. Give them a call, 801-566-1255.
Thank you for joining us for Midday, recapping our top local story this half hour. A civil lawsuit alleging sexual assault against BYU quarterback Jake Retzloff has been dismissed with prejudice, meaning that it can't be brought up again. KSL News Time, 12:07. A woman has been arrested after police say she set her boyfriend on fire at a Midvale gas station. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
Witnesses tell police they saw Ella Nelson pour liquid on her boyfriend and light him on fire during an argument. His car was also set on fire, and police say a bystander used a fire extinguisher to put that out. Police say the man was taken to the hospital with critical injuries and was not able to talk with them. Arresting documents say the woman was found at a nearby hotel, and a dog alerted officers it smelled fire accelerant on a dress in her room. Police say she told them that she and her boyfriend argued but didn't comment more. She's being held at Salt Lake County Jail. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
There have been 2 serious crashes this morning between cars and pedestrians in Salt Lake City. Police are investigating a crash between an e-bike and a passenger truck at 5th South and Redwood Road. The road is expected to be closed until 1:30 because of it. The patient is in critical condition and has potentially life-threatening injuries. The driver is cooperating with the investigation. And in Kaysville, a bicyclist has been life-flighted to the hospital after a car hit them around 9 this morning near Smith's Marketplace. The bicyclist has serious injuries, including a head trauma. Investigation is ongoing, and the road between 2nd North and Flint Street and 2nd North Mountain Vistas has been closed. Gas prices are slowly creeping up ahead of the 4th of July, but industry experts say today's prices are still far better than what they could have been. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson reports.
AAA expects a record 61.6 million Americans to be driving this week ahead of 4th of July, and that usually impacts gas prices.
This is the time of year where gas prices tend to be higher, one, because of the seasonal mix, a more expensive form of gasoline, but also we're approaching 4th of July week. A very busy time.
Spokesman John Traynor says after the attacks in Iran and the threat to close a main oil thoroughfare, gas prices surged for a moment, but they have come back down. Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
As of this morning, the average price of a gallon of regular gas in Utah is $3.34. The national average is $3.18. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. What's going on, Ricky?
Valley Freeway traffic, not too bad. Now, we still have the lane restrictions along I-80 out by the 202 and 201 junction. If you're trying to get there from SR 36 Main Street, be prepared. It's a left lane of travel that is open to everyone. Here in Salt Lake County, freeways are actually looking pretty good. No accidents, no delays. We do have right lanes blocked, a center and a right lane of traffic blocked with a stalled vehicle and accident. And this is in the Weber County area of West Haven. This is westbound 4700 West at 40th South. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cypress Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypresscu.com today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, we've got a little bit of monsoon moisture streaming into the state. That'll build up some clouds this afternoon. 97 the high, slight chance for a mountain storm. 71 overnight, very, very mild. We return to 99 tomorrow afternoon, partly cloudy, 20% chance for a shower. Into Wednesday, 30% chance for a thunderstorm, 95. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine in downtown Salt Lake City, 89 degrees. Coming up on Midday with Maria Shilaos. Rumors are swirling that BYU quarterback Jake Retzloff is contemplating a transfer after a now-dismissed civil lawsuit led to his suspension. We'll get the latest from BYU insider Mitch Harper coming up next, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Over due to popular demand, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
This summer, don't just watch a movie. Experience it like never before at Fat Cats. At Fat Cats, you're not just going to the movies. You're sinking into plush recliners, watching on crystal clear screens, and feeling every moment with immersive surround sound. And here's the big one. We're celebrating the release of the live-action How to Train Your Dragon with a special morning movie event on Saturday, June 14th, with activities, themed treats, and more. Tickets are on sale now. Bring the whole family and enjoy the movie in style. We even have exclusive souvenir popcorn buckets, collectible soda cups, and even an adorable toothless shoulder plush. It's the ultimate way to kick off your dragon-filled adventure. Reserve your seats now at fatcatsfun.com and be part of the magic. Find a Fat Cats movie theater and showtimes near you online at fatcatsfun.com. That's fatcatsfun.com.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
On the surface, it seemed like just another Cinderella story.
A team that was predicted to finish dead last is now waiting to play the first round of the playoffs.
But Real Salt Lake's 2021 playoff run was so much more than what happened on the pitch.
Our club is burning to the ground.
This is the tip of the iceberg. Making of a Moment, the RSL story, is available now.
I just kind of got chills right now thinking about it.
Follow us at makingamomentpod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Utah State Fire Marshal is condemning the deadly ambush of 2 Idaho firefighters, calling it inexcusable and urging renewed focus on first responder safety. I'm KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera.
Second, a bicyclist and an e-bike rider are in the hospital with serious injuries after 2 separate crashes, causing road closures in Kaysville and Salt Lake City this morning. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Watch for those orange barrels on I-80 going from Lake Point towards the 201 junction. No real delays in the area, but you will see lane restrictions. Also through the work zone, slow down southbound I-15 Kaysville to Farmington. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
Afternoon clouds today with a hot high of 97. Could push 100 tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
89 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A new migrant detention facility dubbed Alligator Alcatraz in the Florida Everglades is drawing criticism and protests. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says President Trump will visit the remote airstrip tomorrow for the opening.
There's only one road leading in, and the only way out is a one-way flight, and surrounded by dangerous wildlife and unforgiving terrain.
The facility has 5,000 beds for the deportation process. Senate Republicans up against a July 4th deadline to pass President Trump's massive budget bill and agenda. The so-called vote-a-rama taking place today, but there's still concern within the party over the cuts to programs like Medicaid.
It's the biggest priority legislatively right now for the White House and for President Trump, because this bill includes many of his critical campaign promises, extending the tax cuts from his first term in office, the no tax on tips and overtime. These are all big things that he promised voters last year, and now they're including in this legislation.
ABC's Karen Travers at the White House. A federal task force says its investigation into Harvard found that the university failed to protect Jewish students from harassment during the campus protests over the war in Gaza. The Trump administration says the university should lose all federal funding.
They say failure to institute adequate changes immediately will result in the loss of all federal financial resources. The Trump administration has been freezing about $2 billion in grant money to going after Harvard's tax exemption status and even their ability to have international students on campus. And we did have a chance to get a comment from Harvard, where a spokesperson for the university says that they strongly disagree with the government's findings. And we do know that Harvard's president in the past has said that they are working to end prejudice on campus.
ABC's Perry Russum. A heat wave impacting parts of Europe, including the first day of Wimbledon. Temperatures expected to hit the 90s at the famed tennis tournament, the hottest for opening day on record. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The sexual assault civil lawsuit against BYU quarterback Jake Retzloff has been dismissed and cannot be filed again. But what does this mean for BYU's football team moving forward? Joining me now live to talk about it is KSL Sports BYU insider Mitch Harper. Mitch, thanks for spending a few minutes with me.
Happy to do it, Maria.
So even though this case has been dismissed, there have been rumors that Retzloff is looking to transfer. What do we know about this?
Yeah, there's still been reports that Retzloff intends to transfer. Now, no official word yet from Retzloff or BYU regarding his status with the program. He is a redshirt senior. This is 2025 is his last year of college eligibility. And, but there has been speculation that he intends to transfer out of BYU as he faces a potential honor code violation, because he did admit to consensual relations that would violate the school's honor code that students are expected to adhere to. So it puts a situation where BYU could be looking for its next quarterback to open up the 2025 season.
Yeah, even if he does stay, the team's still in a tough spot, right?
No question, because Jake Retzloff, he had some ups and downs as a quarterback at BYU, but he was far and away BYU's best option, to the point where BYU offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick said earlier in the winter that, he felt Jake Retzloff could maybe be potentially a top 5 quarterback in college football this year. Now, if he was actually going to be that was to be seen, if he had to take another jump in his progression. But, it would be a loss for BYU to not have Jake Retzloff, but they do have options in that quarterback room with Trayson Bourget, McKay Hillstead, and then a true freshman from Stanford in Bear Bachmeyer as well.
So this does open up opportunities for those other players. What does it look like? Looks like they're the standout?
Yeah, those would be the three guys that would be the top contenders for the starting QB job. To me, I'd start with McKay Hillstead. He's a former Utah State transfer, dual threat player, got a pretty good arm, and he can run with the football, which has been an attribute in quarterbacks that have succeeded at BYU under Kalani Sitake, dual threat runners. And then Trayson Bourget is a good passer. He's got starting experience from his time at Western Michigan. He's been with the program for more than a year now. And then the wild card in the group is, as I noted, true freshman Bear Bachmeier. And he is a 4-star recruit out of California, and he's going to be one to watch that could be, maybe good enough to contend for that job as a true freshman.
Mitch, are you expecting BYU Athletics Department to come out with some sort of statement on this or tell what their future plans are?
I would expect so, I would think. But to this point, they have remained consistent on pointing to their original statement back on May 21st. Obviously, been reaching out to the school and athletics department with no comment from them. They've always pointed to this being a private matter, but now with Jake Retzloff's civil lawsuit being dismissed, BYU typically, when it comes to its honor code, any sort of honor code violation, they do handle it private. But with this being such a public ordeal with Jake Retzloff, would have to think they'd make some sort of comment. It is noteworthy that today the Big 12 just announced the attendees from each school at next week's Media Day events. For BYU, of course, Jake Retzloff not going to be in attendance there to represent BYU, which a couple months ago would have been a foregone conclusion that he would have been attending to represent BYU and talk about the program. But now, obviously, he is not going to be there in attendance next week in Texas.
All right, Mitch, thanks for bringing us up to date with the very latest. That is KSL Sports BYU insider Mitch Harper. We do have breaking news on KSL News Radio. A man accused of driving through a horse corral and killing 2 young boys has been sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. He was found guilty on 2 counts of murder back in April. Kent Cody Barlow was on meth and speeding toward upwards of 117 miles per hour at the time. Today, a Utah County judge sentenced him to 15 years for each murder count to be served after another 15-year sentence. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Let's get the latest on the roads. Here's Ricky Meese.
The crash we had in West Haven that had been blocking a center and right lane of traffic westbound at 4700 West 40th South has cleared. All lanes are open. We have a new accident eastbound on the 21st South Freeway at the ramp to I-215's West Belt, but those vehicles are over to the shoulder. It's not going to cause any problems, but if you're headed northbound on I-15, also a new accident. This is in South Salt Lake. You have vehicles to the left and to the right shoulders, but we're still waiting for more emergency crews to arrive on the scene northbound I-15 prior to 33rd South. They're under the overpass, so as you're traveling that direction, just keep an eye out for them. So far, no delay in that area. Jordan Valley Water says we're using about 12% more water than last year, even though we don't need to. Let's fix that. Water 1 day less each week. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast does have some changes in it. Could be talking about a little bit of monsoon influence. I got 97 for a high today, partly cloudy, with a slight chance for storms in the mountains. Tomorrow, a little bit more moisture, 99 the high, partly cloudy, 20% chance for a shower. And then isolated storms are possible Wednesday and Thursday, with highs in the mid-90s and upper 80s. By Friday, 91, that's 4th of July, partly cloudy, 20% chance for an afternoon pop-up. Mostly sunny skies Saturday and Sunday, but it does look a little bit breezy, highs in the 90s. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And we now have hit 90 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets, and they are in really good shape today. The Dow is up by more than triple digits. Well, in triple digits, I should say. Actually, all the markets have gained after Canada caved on a digital tax. We'll have a complete update of your money news coming up next.
Five guys walk into a JCW's and order burgers, a pastrami, a mushroom Swiss, guacamole bacon, a hickory barbecue, a ribeye steak, 2 onion rings, 3 french fries, a strawberry, mint, peanut butter, chocolate, and marshmallow shake, and not one left to tip. Because at JCW's, we don't ask for it. We think the price you see should be the price you pay. And all that, would you like to leave a tip stuff, is for the birds. JCW's. Quality and a lot of it. Open in American Fork, Lehigh, Provo, South Jordan, and Harriman.
Healthcare with human kindness is here. It's at Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Together, we have a common purpose, partnering with you in health and healing using powerful medicine, powerful technology, and the greatest power of all, human kindness. You'll know it when you see it, because human kindness is in every care site and in every caregiver. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
It's Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I've got something important to talk to you about, your 401k. If you have changed jobs, there are 2 very important considerations. You don't want to leave your 401k behind, and you don't want to roll it over into your new company plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. 401ks will often have limited investments or age-based options. Since companies have to make choices to suit all employees, they may not be suited to you, which could cost you fees and money. When you roll over your 401k into an IRA, you not only keep your money growing tax deferred, but you also gain access to a world of investment options specifically designed for you. Trajan Wealth and our fiduciary advisors have helped thousands, and we can do the same for you. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. 801-899-7600.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
KSL News Time 1227. The WNBA has big plans for an expansion over the next few years. ABC's Sherry Preston has more.
Who knows? Maybe the new teams will one day have a victory celebration like the one New York threw last year for the Liberty. The WNBA announcing that over the next 5 years, Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia will all be joining the league. Toronto and Portland will enter next year. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert says the expansion is a powerful reflection for the league's extraordinary momentum, depth of talent, and the surging demand for women's professional basketball. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Watching Utah's money, President Trump says he has a buyer lined up for TikTok. He told Fox News it's a group of very wealthy people whose names will be released in a few weeks. The deadline for the sale is set for September 17th. Costco executive members will be getting another perk starting today. Locations will now open an hour earlier at 9 a.m. They will also get a $10 credit for orders of 150 or more placed through the company's same-day service. The Nintendo Switch 2 will reportedly be restocked this week. The gaming device is almost a month old, but demand is still up. It had record sales with more than 3.5 million units flying off the shelves. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 144 points, sitting at 43,963. S&P is up by 12. The NASDAQ up by 43 points.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I was taking my side hustle full-time.
Bold move, my friend.
And I needed to find everything in one stop.
Like finding Bigfoot riding a unicorn.
Yes, so I hit the Staples Easy button. Staples had everything for a new office and print services for signs and brochures. Plus, Cindy, the Staples associate, helped me find the best tech for me.
Wait, no drama?
No, Staples made it easy.
For the products, services, and experts your business needs, Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app. Lowe's knows how to set off your July 4th with savings. Right now, buy one, get one free on select one-coat coverage interior paint via Visa gift card rebate. Plus, get two select 2 or 2.5 quart red, white, and blue annuals for just $10. Hurry, these July 4th deals won't last long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for more details.
This week's movie show brought to you by My Hearing Centers. Schedule a hearing evaluation and be entered to win a set of premium hearing aids by tuning in Friday from 10 to 1. Traffic and weather is brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
We had a report of a possible accident at 2100 South 3rd West. I can see a portion of that intersection and traffic seems to be getting through, but keep an eye out just in case there does happen to be an accident in that area. It could be pulled into a parking lot. We do have crews arriving on the scene of the crash. This is going from West Valley towards Salt Lake City eastbound on the 21st South Freeway at I-215's West Belt. It's at the ramp but out of traffic completely on the shoulder. And the final cleanup of an accident northbound I-15 prior to 33rd South. Those vehicles were out of traffic on each shoulder, really didn't cause any kind of disruption with traffic. Create a sanctuary in the yard with bedding plants from Olson's Greenhouse. Locally grown quality flowers to adorn containers on the porch, beds, or patio. For tips and ideas, visit OGG.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Forecast calls for clouds to build up this afternoon. I got a high of 97. Slight chance for a thunderstorm in the mountains. 71 in the overnight. Very mild. 99 for your Tuesday. Partly cloudy with a 20% chance for a thunderstorm. Better thunderstorm chances on Wednesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Few clouds, 90 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time 1231. KSL's top story. A man convicted of killing 2 toddlers in Eagle Mountain in 2022 has been sentenced to serve at least 30 years in prison. KSL News Radio's Adam Small joins us live from the courthouse with the very latest. Adam?
Well, Maria, it's been an emotional last few hours of testimony from family, prosecutors, and all sorts of witnesses in this case that has been going on for the last 3 years now. A jury recently found Kent Cody Barlow guilty of 2 counts of depraved indifference murder in the deaths of 3-year-olds Odin Ratliff and Hunter Jackson back in 2022, when prosecutors say he was high on meth, driving roughly 120 miles an hour and crashed into the Cedar Valley stables where Hunter and Odin were playing. Today, the judge in the case heard, again, emotional testimony from the mothers of both boys, some of their other family members, as well as Kent Cody Barlow himself, who to this point has mostly been expressionless and quiet during these years of proceedings. He tearfully apologized to the family and says he wished he could take it all back. We also heard from his mother and one of his sisters, but ultimately the judge did order and sentenced him to 15 years to life in prison for each count of depraved indifference murder, and that sentence will run consecutively, meaning he will spend at least the next 30 years in prison. Reporting live in Provo, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
A woman convicted of killing her 2 children in Layton 15 years ago will be sentenced today. Sooncha Warhola pleaded guilty but mentally ill in June of 2024 to 2 counts of first-degree murder for the deaths of her kids, 8-year-old James and 7-year-old Jean Marie Warhola. Now, her sentencing is scheduled at the district court in Farmington at 2 o'clock today. A 44-year-old man is in the hospital after he was shot by police on I-80 in Salt Lake overnight. Police say this started around 10:45 last night when a tow truck driver called saying somebody shot at him.
While they were in the process of finding him, that individual actually started shooting at our officers. So our officers initiated a pursuit. Throughout that pursuit, the individual kept firing at officers. At some point, our officers did return fire.
Salt Lake City Police Detective Michael Ruff says officers pitted the suspect's vehicle on I-80 where another shooting happened. The suspect was shot at least once and has since been taken to the hospital in critical condition. No officers were hurt, but 5 have been placed on administrative leave. A Cottonwood Heights dance studio owner is now under arrest, accused of abusing young girls in the program. Police documents say several underage victims have come forward accusing 46-year-old Mark Cameron of calling the dancers into his office, locking the door, and then sitting him on his lap while he touched them inappropriately. Police also stated in the documents that they believe Cameron is a flight risk because he allegedly fled the United Kingdom after similar accusations were made. Utah is taking another shot at social media companies. This time it's Snapchat, which the state is accusing of exploiting and knowingly harming children to make money. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The lawsuit says Snapchat is intentionally addictive, misrepresents its safety features to parents, and collects data to share with OpenAI and Microsoft. It's a lot like the TikTok and Meta lawsuits filed by the state within the last year. Executive Director for the Utah Department of Commerce, Margaret Woolley-Bussey, says they're asking Snapchat to stop the dangerous behaviors.
So either they fundamentally do not care about our kids at all, or the exploitation of our kids, the deception, is so innate to their business model that they simply can't let go of it.
Snapchat provided a response to KSL News Radio saying, quote, "We are committed to making Snapchat a safe and fun environment for our community and have built privacy and safety features into our service from the start." Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories. President Trump will pay a visit to the latest immigration detention center his administration is setting up. This one is in the Florida Everglades. It's nicknamed Alligator Alcatraz. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was asked if this location, surrounded by dangerous wildlife, was chosen by design, and she admitted it was.
Well, look, when you have illegal murderers and rapists and heinous criminals in a detention facility surrounded by alligators, yes, I do think that's a deterrent for them to try to escape.
Leavitt then pointed to the recent escape at a New Jersey facility and touted the One Big Beautiful Bill Act again to get funding for more ICE agents and detention centers. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says trade talks with the U.S. have resumed after Canada rescinded its plan to tax U.S. technology firms. ABC's Karen Travers has the latest.
Canada said it will resume trade talks with the U.S. after the Canadian government said it wouldn't move forward with the digital services tax. That tax was estimated to cost U.S. tech companies billions of dollars. President Trump last week called the tax a, quote, direct and blatant attack, and said he would end all trade talks with Canada over it, even signaling he would announce new tariff rates on Canada in the next week. There is currently a 25% tariff on some goods from Canada, as well as 50% tariffs on steel and aluminum. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
A federal task force has found Harvard University failed to protect Jewish students from harassment during those on-campus protests over the war in Gaza.
They say failure to institute adequate changes immediately will result in the loss of all federal financial resources. The Trump administration has been freezing about $2 billion in grant money to going after Harvard's tax exemption status and even their ability to have international students on campus. And we did have a chance to get a comment from Harvard, where a spokesperson for the university says that they strongly disagree with the government's findings. And we do know that Harvard's president in the past has said that they are working to end prejudice on campus.
That is ABC's Perry Russum reporting. First look traffic. What's going on, Ricky?
We have delays setting in through the work zone in Davis County, southbound I-15. Most of it concentrated around Burton Lane. So as you're going from Kaysville to Farmington, just expect another day of slowdowns. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:37.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet Store.
Does your job require you to be on your feet all day? Teachers, postal carriers, salespeople, and restaurant staff. Many of us need our feet to get us through the day. Hi, this is Mike with the Good Feet Store, and I'd like you to hear from Donna. She's a nurse and a real customer of the Good Feet Store who wanted to share her story.
Oh, I have to tell you, I have struggled with pain in my feet. I was diagnosed with plantar fasciitis. With the 3-step program, it really fits to your lifestyle. I work in a hospital. I'm a registered nurse, so being on my feet, walking throughout the hospital during the day, I am free from any type of pain. And after working a 12-hour shift, I go home and my feet do not hurt.
Whether you're a nurse or anyone wanting to enjoy work without your feet getting in the way, come see us at the Good Feet Store.
Thanks to the Good Feet Store.
Schedule your free test walk at goodfeet.com.
Change is always happening. Hey, it's a part of life.
And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten, classics are remixed, bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. But no matter how things change, in 5 years, there's one thing that'll stay the same: the price of your internet. Xfinity is introducing the 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years guaranteed. Learn more at xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report August 2024. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Go to xfinity.com/deals.
Thank you for joining us today for Midday. Recapping our top local story this half hour. The man convicted of killing 2 toddlers with his car in Eagle Mountain is going to prison. Today, a Utah County judge sentenced Kent Cody Barlow to 30 years to life behind bars. KSL News Time, 1238. The number 5 overall pick in this year's NBA draft is here in Utah, despite all the national rumors that he didn't want to play for the Jazz. Ace Bailey spoke to reporters yesterday and addressed those rumors.
Was there any point that you considered not coming to Utah?
No, not at all. I mean, just blessed to be in this position I am. Not a lot of people can sit in these chairs and have great teammates as I got on that came on with me, so I'm just blessed to be here.
Bailey says he brings a lot of energy to the court and believes that he can make an immediate impact for the Jazz. Former Jazz player Bogan Bogdanovic is retiring after 10 seasons in the NBA. He spent 3 seasons as a starter for the Jazz between 2019 and 2022, after he signed a contract making him the highest-paid Croatian player in NBA history. He averaged 18 points a game and shot 40% from the three during his time with the Jazz. Gen Z is doing better in the housing market than other generations of the same age. It's reportedly because of more remote work opportunities, increased financial literacy, and lower mortgage rates.
Record low mortgage rates during the pandemic may have been the push some Gen Zers needed to break into the market. New data from Redfin says almost a third of 24-year-olds now own a home. Real estate agents with Redfin say these young buyers are coming into the market with more information. They're familiar with real estate jargon and often buy with family members or can get financial help from them. When at the same age, Redfin points out millennials were struggling to find work during the Great Recession, and Gen Xers had some of the highest mortgage rates in history, around 11%. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
With temperatures in the high 90s over the next few days, vets are reminding people to keep their pets in mind if they are playing outside. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi has more.
Be sure to acclimate your dog to the conditions before you go out. Lynette the vet says overheated dogs tend to drool, pant excessively, and can vomit and have diarrhea. She says you can cool them down in a river or lake, but don't let them drink the water. Also, paw protectors are good protection against hot surfaces, and check their paws for foxtails when your outdoor adventure is done.
The veterinarian also recommends bringing your own water supply for your pet to drink. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion, and here's Ricky Meese.
For those who are going to be traveling southbound I-15 in Davis County, another day of delays through that work zone between the Kaysville Ponds and Lagoon in Farmington. A lot of that slowing is right around Burton Lane. So just keep that in mind and make sure your travel plans include a few extra minutes to get through that spot. We also have lane restrictions eastbound I-80 going from Lake Point over to the 201 junction. No real delays, but watch for those orange barrels. They are out in force. Salt Lake County freeways seeing a delay-free drive, and we have the final cleanup of a small accident eastbound on the 21st South Freeway at I-215's West Belt. It's out of traffic at the bottom of the ramp over to the shoulder, so not causing any delay. Celebrate freedom in Paris, Idaho. The 4th of July Chuck Wagon Breakfast and Parade. On the 5th, a 5K run, Junior Rodeo, Craft Vendor Fair, and free concert. Visit bearlake.org for details. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll be running 8 to 10 degrees above the normal today. How about partly cloudy skies and 97 for a daytime high? 71 overnight, 99 tomorrow afternoon, but a 20% chance for a valley thunderstorm, partly cloudy. 95, 30% chance for storms on Wednesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine, 90 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City, and still to come on midday. Firefighters all over the country, including here in Utah, are mourning the deaths of 2 Idaho firefighters who were ambushed by a gunman over the weekend. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
KSL News Time 1245, the 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
Utah is going after another social media. A new lawsuit claims Snapchat fails to protect children and actively harms them with addictive features and undisclosed data collection. I'm KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Second, a Cottonwood Heights dance teacher has been arrested accused of touching multiple students inappropriately. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
We do have the final cleanup of a small accident. It's eastbound on the 21st South Freeway at the ramp to go to the West Belt, but completely out of traffic on the shoulder. No delay in the area. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
Got a light tap of monsoon moisture this week. I'm Matt Johnson.
90 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national story.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Senate Republicans locked in a marathon session as they try to pass a massive mega bill for President Trump's domestic agenda. ABC's Jay O'Brien has more.
Right now, the Senate is in this vote-a-rama, right? It's voting on a series of amendments that Democrats are putting forward to try to change this legislation that will be unsuccessful, and some amendments that Republicans are putting forward to cut even more, like a Rick Scott proposed amendment to enact further cuts onto Medicaid. Unclear if he's got the support in his own ranks among Senate Republicans to get that over the goal line.
The Trump administration threatening to pull all federal funding for Harvard University. That after a task force concluded that Harvard was violating of civil rights. Harvard says it strongly disagrees with the findings. In northern Idaho, officials identified the gunman who shot and killed 2 firefighters and injured a third. Police say Wes Rowley started the brush fire to lure firefighters to the scene and say they located him on a ridge nearby after he killed himself. This is ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. Police and the FBI are trying to figure out what motivated a man in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, to set a fire and then ambush firefighters. John Smith from our sister station, The Arrow, who is also the spokesman for the North Twilla Fire District, joined Utah's Morning News today to give his reaction.
Well, obviously, we are shocked, and our hearts go out to our firefighting brothers and sisters in Coeur d'Alene and the state of Idaho. We here, particularly in the mountain region of the western U.S., we are all a big family when it comes to wildland firefighting. You know, we help Idaho out, they help us out. We all help other states out here in the West. So a lot of these guys we have worked with in various deployments and in various capacities over the years. So we're all feeling this one. This one's a tough one. Yeah.
That's a good reminder. You guys do go assist as soon if a wildfire gets too big. All the other states send people up.
Yeah, and it's very likely that at some point, firefighters from Utah could end up in Idaho and vice versa. So, when we hear about this in a neighboring state, we pay attention, and it's a very scary situation.
Are you aware of anything like this ever happening before?
On a wildland fire, I don't know that I have. Now, we have seen this, particularly during civil unrest. We've seen firefighters getting shot at. The LA riots were a big one. Yeah. But the 92 ones, not the several that have happened since then. But and many fire departments, including my own, we have ballistic vests and helmets that we have access to for situations because we respond to emergency medical calls, and a lot of times we'll have to respond to dangerous situations. But on a wildland fire where we are out in the open, we are exposed for miles in every direction, this isn't something that we deal with.
Smith says police are usually on the scene for a fire call, but that can't always be true for wildfire fighting. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
We are still seeing slowdowns due to road work for Davis County drivers southbound I-15 as you go from Kaysville to Farmington. Also, the orange barrel's out. It may cause a little bit of backup, especially on Main Street SR 36 to go eastbound on I-80 by Lake Point. There are lane restrictions in the area. Salt Lake County Freeway seeing a delay-free drive, but a small accident still being cleared eastbound on the 21st South Freeway at the ramp to I-215's West Belt. Traffic's rough, but your parking lot doesn't have to be. GoPave Utah keeps things smooth with expert asphalt maintenance at gopavutah.com. That's gopavutah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. I got 97 today. Partly cloudy skies. Could see a mountaintop thunderstorm. 99, partly cloudy on Tuesday. 20% chance for a stray thunderstorm. We got 30% chances on your Wednesday. 95. 89, isolated storm possible Thursday. And then it's 91 for your 4th of July. Partly cloudy. 20% chance for a shower. And then it's breezy with 90s over the weekend. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine in downtown Salt Lake City, 90 degrees. 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. And a quick check of the markets. Boy, great shape today after Canada stepped back on a digital tax for the United States. The Dow right now up by more than 144 points. And the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Well, it's officially summer, and whatever you have planned for the summertime months in the great state of Utah, it can be made better with a stop at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Say, for example, you're heading up into the mountains, going to do a little hiking, a little shopping at the outlet stores, whatever it might be. How about wrapping up a perfect day with that perfect meal that waits for you at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse at Hotel Park City? And, of course, all of the things to do here along the Wasatch Front, especially in the capital city, whether it's a play, maybe a concert, some sporting event, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is waiting for you at 275 South West Temple, where your entree will be perfectly prepared. I love the ribeye steak, and it is always cooked to perfection. The side dishes, the desserts, just the way you're treated, the way the servers take care of you. You're going to love your dining experience this summer at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Over 3/4 of Americans will experience foot pain, and most will just live with that pain every day. But Foot Solutions in Orem is here to change that. Here's Amanda from Provo.
I am an active woman, ex-Division I basketball player at BYU. By trade, I'm a PE teacher. Over the last 2 years is when my feet really started hurting.
And that's when Amanda's life changed with a visit to Foot Solutions in Orem.
My experience at Foot Solutions was so unique to any other experience I've had. Over an hour they spent with me, really going over my specific pain points.
After discovering so many solutions and custom in-house made orthotics, what does Amanda want you to know?
Invest in your health. health. Don't be cheap to your feet. Living a pain-free, active life again has been worth every cent.
Just search for Foot Solutions in Orem and find out more at footsolutions.com.
I'm Amanda from Provo. I'm 47 years old, and Foot Solutions has given me back a pain-free, active lifestyle.
Nothing says summer like double rewards on your Mountain America Rewards credit card. Get 2 times the points on everything from gas and groceries to travel and home projects. Now through July 31st, 2025. Oh, wow. It's the perfect way to stretch your dollar and make summer doubly rewarding. Apply for your Mountain America Rewards credit card at macu.com/double. Loans on approved credit. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply.
At Trio Senior Living, older adults aren't slowing down. They're just getting started. The Prime Fit Wellness Program expands wellness beyond the gym into every aspect of community life. Whatever your goals, the team at Trio Senior Living has got your back, so you can put your best foot forward. Call 801-475-4004 today to schedule your personal visit.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
KSL News Time 12:55. Scorching heat brings a steamy start to Wimbledon this week. ABC's Laura Spencer has more.
It is expected to be 93 degrees today. That is really hot for a tennis player and close to the hottest day ever at Wimbledon. Center court and court number 1 are covered. All the other courts are open to the elements. Not great news, but the tournament's heat rule is in effect. That calls for 10-minute breaks in play whenever requested.
The tournament runs until the championship on July 13th. Watching Utah's money, some Americans can expect to get smaller Social Security checks. The Social Security Administration says it overpaid millions of dollars over the years. Now it's trying to recover that money. The overpayments were likely because of miscalculations or people not reporting the changes in income. Smucker's is the latest brand to ditch artificial dyes. The GM Smucker's company owns Dunkin', Uncrustables, Hostess, Jif, and Folgers. It's part of Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s agenda to make America healthy again. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 150 points. It sits at 43,970. S&P up by 14. NASDAQ up by 41 points.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today, 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227, or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
Everyone loves the look of granite countertops, but they aren't the only option. When it's time to give your kitchen, bathroom, or basement a fresh new look, start at CountertopFactoryLLC.com. Countertop Factory offers high-quality laminate countertops that look amazing and cost just 1/3 of the price of stone. Yeah, you heard that right, 1/3 of the price. And these aren't your grandma's countertops. You'll get that luxurious look and feel without emptying your wallet. And with beautiful varieties of colors and patterns, it's easy to find something affordable and durable that fits your style perfectly. Countertop Factory installs most countertops in only 7 to 10 days from when they measure. That's faster than you can binge watch your favorite series. And it's not just countertops. At Countertop Factory, browse cabinet options to match your new countertops, all professionally installed to ensure everything looks flawless. From homes to offices to schools and hospitals. Get started 24/7 at CountertopFactoryLLC.com. That's CountertopFactoryLLC.com. Visit the contest page on KSLNewsRadio.com. This week, you can win tickets to the Ute Stampede Rodeo, July 9th through the 12th in Nephi. Extreme Bulls, a carnival, a car show, and parade. The Ute Stampede has it all. Or win tickets to Barry Manilow, coming to the Maverick Center for the last time on July 14th. Plus, win free tickets to an upcoming Real Salt Lake home match. Text the word contest to 57500 or go to KSLNewsRadio.com/contests.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
We do have a new accident in Weber County at southbound on I-15 near Riverdale Road. This is as you're traveling towards that work zone, the construction zone. The delays are passing the I-84 junction. You won't see better speeds until you're past 5600 South in Roy. Take UTA instead of driving and actually enjoy your ride. Try UTA to see the difference. Plan your trip at rideuta.com or on the Transit app. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Headed to a high of nearly 100 degrees today, 97 for a high. Tomorrow, we will probably hit 100, just a very slight chance of showers for the next couple of days. Right now in downtown Salt Lake City, a lot of sunshine, 91 degrees.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Communities in mourning following the ambush and killing of 2 firefighters in northern Idaho.
Very unique situation. I mean, tragic, but very unique, thank goodness. And I think that, it's one of those issues that they happen so seldom. I'm not sure that you change the practice of how fire responds.
The time is 1 o'clock on Monday, June 30th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we have reaction from local fire officials, plus an in-depth look on firefighter safety. Also this hour,
we're confident this bill is going to be back at the White House by the 4th of July.
Despite objections from some Republican senators, optimism from the White House over the one big, beautiful bill. We'll have a live report shortly. But first, our top stories. Utah is taking another shot at social media companies. This time, it's Snapchat, which the state is accusing of exploiting and knowingly harming children to make money. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The lawsuit says Snapchat is intentionally addictive, misrepresents its safety features to parents, and collects data to share with OpenAI and Microsoft. It's a lot like the TikTok and Meta lawsuits filed by the state within the last year. Executive Director for the Utah Department of Commerce, Margaret Woolley-Bussey, says they're asking Snapchat to stop the dangerous behaviors.
So either they fundamentally do not care about our kids at all, or the exploitation of our kids, the deception, is so innate to their business model that they simply can't let go of it.
Snapchat provided a response to KSL News Radio saying, quote, "We are committed to making Snapchat a safe and fun environment for our community and have built privacy and safety features into our service from the start." Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story from ABC News. Canada has agreed to pause its plans for a digital service tax, which would have imposed 3% levy on U.S. technology companies. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says it was a result of her boss's ability to negotiate.
It's very simple. Prime Minister Carney in Canada caved to President Trump in the United States of America.
Just last week, President Trump suspended talks over the tax. The two sides previously set a deadline of July 21st for a trade deal. The Trump administration is threatening all of Harvard University's federal funding over civil rights violations in a new letter sent to the university today.
The Trump administration says its investigation into Harvard found the university is in violent violation of federal civil rights law. The administration sent a letter, viewed by ABC News, to the president of Harvard on Monday, detailing the findings of an investigation into anti-Semitism on Harvard's campus. The administration's investigation concluded the majority of Jewish students reported experiencing negative bias or discrimination discrimination on campus, found evidence that Jewish and Israeli students were assaulted and spit on, and that participants in campus demonstrations were not properly punished. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Harvard has responded to the letter saying it strongly disagrees with the findings. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 183 points, nearly 0.5%, sitting at 44,000. S&P 500 up by 21. The NASDAQ is up by 67 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
Crews have been able to get this crash moved out of traffic southbound I-15 near Riverdale Road in Riverdale. If you're coming through Weber County on the way to Clearfield, expect delays starting prior to the I-84 junction. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A very slight chance of showers today and tomorrow. Today's high 97 up to 99 tomorrow. Right now, 91 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Right now at S&S Roofing, get $1,000 off any roof replacement. Plus, you'll get their incredible 50-year worry-free warranty. Dial pound 250 and then say the keyword S&S Roofing for a free bid.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Held over due to popular demand. This is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
2 firefighters killed in northern Idaho in what law enforcement officials say was an ambush. The suspect allegedly setting a fire to draw firefighters to the area only to begin shooting at them as they arrived. Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Let's begin our special coverage of this tragic event with ABC's Alex Stone, who is in Coeur d'Alene. He says there's been identification of the alleged shooter.
Our sources are saying we have now ID'd the suspect, Wes Rowley, found dead in these woods here. Now, if he killed himself, if he was killed by a police bullet, they don't know. We know the ATF is working to trace the one weapon he had. They are searching the woods today to figure out if there are any more weapons that he had in these woods. They haven't found any yet. They know of the one.
Our special coverage continues with ABC's Matt Gutman, who details what happened in the Idaho Panhandle near Coeur d'Alene.
Early afternoon yesterday, firefighters arrived near a routine local trailhead for what they thought was a routine wildfire. Instead, they began taking gunfire. 2 were killed, a 3rd wounded. A massive force of heavily armed law enforcement arriving, hikers sheltering in place. But that sniper, lethal and elusive, kept firing. Hours later, authorities finding him dead.
This was a total ambush. These firefighters did not have a chance.
It was 1:21 p.m. Sunday, and firefighters were responding to a routine wildfire call, racing to this black smoke seen off a local trailhead.
Right now, there's an active shooter zone.
But as firefighters prepared to battle the flames, suddenly shots ringing out from the hills above.
They're shot. Everybody's shot up here. Law enforcement, code 3 now up here.
2 firefighters were killed, another wounded, all of them ambushed.
I'm pinned down behind Battalion 1's rig. It's clear to me that this fire was set intentionally to draw us in.
Sirens heard throughout the neighborhood as roughly 300 law enforcement and first responders from Idaho and Washington state raced to the scene.
First really started hearing the sirens as far as kind of going up and down there. And immediately just kind of the tension really just kind of went up as far as all around town.
Officials delivering their grim assessment.
We do believe that the suspect started the fire, and we do believe that it was an ambush and it was intentional.
A standoff ensuing, officers exchanging fire with the suspect as helicopters with snipers scanning the forest as authorities tracked cell phone data which stayed in the same spot since 3:16 p.m., eventually finding the man dead with a weapon nearby.
We had to scoop up that body, and we had to transport that body to a different location.
And some residents forced to shelter in place for over 4 hours, unable to escape. And then that solemn scene as a procession of law enforcement, firefighters, and ambulances brought the bodies of the 2 fallen firefighters to the medical examiner's office. Officials saying there's simply no training for this kind of situation.
This is something that we don't train for. It's not something we expect. It's not something our firefighters should have to deal with.
And now that tight-knit community left reeling.
Somebody lost their mom or their dad, or somebody's wife or husband isn't coming home tonight.
Now, initially, there was concern that there might have been multiple shooters. Officials now confirming there was a single shooter and no additional threat to the public. Officials are now focused on determining the identity of the shooter and a possible motive. Officers are still at that scene as firefighters are also working to contain the wildfire that suspect allegedly started.
It's not something we expect. That's what a Kootenai County Sheriff's official said about the ambush. You just heard it there in that report from ABC's Matt Gutman. This isn't the kind of safety protection training firefighters usually deal with. They are usually focused on putting out the flames and helping ensure people nearby aren't harmed. But should they expect these kinds of situations going forward? Should they have more safety measures in place? Former UPD police chief and law enforcement expert Chris Bertram tells me that this is definitely not the norm. From a law enforcement standpoint, what is your thoughts about what happened in Idaho?
Very unique situation. I mean, tragic, but very unique, thank goodness. The fact that in most cases firefighters are not the target of situations like this, and I think that it's one of those issues that they happen so seldom. I'm not sure that you change the practice of how fire responds without actually having actionable information that there may be a threat to firemen. If there is a threat, I think that the fire personnel have to make decisions as to whether they're going to alter their response and maybe respond with law enforcement. But it's interesting because in most fire responses, where law enforcement is needed, the fire personnel wait until law enforcement has deemed the scene safe. But in most cases where fire responds, a fire or an emergency medical issue, those are situations, unless there's information of a threat, they're going to be able to get right in and take care of what they need to do.
Right. As you mentioned, firefighters respond a lot differently than police officers do. Police officers go into a situation and they are armed. Now, firefighters, they're not armed, are they?
They're not. And in most cases, throughout history, they haven't, worn protective vests or protective equipment. They rely on the information that's known at the time. And if there are threats, then they don't go in until they know that the scene is safe. But again, if there's no actionable threats or no information that there's a threat, then firefighters are going to respond and do what they need to do. Because we have to remember, if it's a medical issue, a heart attack, a stroke, we know that seconds and minutes count, and that fire response and getting that emergency medical is very important. Same thing with a house fire. every time, every minute that goes by with a house fire, the house fire gets, significantly bigger. There's even percentages that they will tell you that every minute it's going to grow this much. So the fact that you see firemen quickly get to scene, quickly deploy off of their trucks, get, hoses deployed, they know that if they can, intercept that fire at that point, that it again, that force multiplying of that fire, it cascades into a larger fire. They may be able to help reduce that.
You mentioned that this probably won't lead to a change in protocol for response, but it has to be in the back of mind, the back of mind of not just firefighters, but police officers when they're responding to things these days.
I think it's just a good reminder that, safety is the first thing. If you can't get there safe, if you can't deploy safely, we're not going to be able to help people. And so, with police and with fire personnel, I think that these, situations, again, remind us that we have to keep safety in mind. But at the same time, they are so unique. And we know that the majority of the time that when fire responds to, for instance, a fire, there is no actionable or information that would be a threat, that they're going to quickly deploy and start doing what they need to do.
So when would there be a need for the protocol to change for firefighters?
I think if we see more of a threat toward firefighters or more of a risk, again, we don't know what the reason was for this person to shoot at firefighters. There's going to be a reason, and law enforcement, federal, state, and local are going to figure that out. And if that leads to, again, something within that area, for instance, that there is a threat to firemen or a general, overall that these there may be fire set where people are going to take action against firefighters for a particular reason, I think then you have to reevaluate. However, I think in general circumstances, there is not going to be a threat to firefighters. They're there to help. They're there to save lives. And I think it's important to, remember that their quick response saves lives. And I think that's something that again, I'm not in the fire service, but that's something that I imagine that they reevaluate. When it comes to incident response, they're a gold standard. A lot of my, information that I got with regards to incident command and how we ran major incidents is based on a fire model because they do it well.
Such a sad situation, but important not to jump to conclusions.
It is. And, and keep in mind that there have been times throughout history that firefighters have been targeted during riots, during other times. We've seen that where, it's not just police that may be targeted, maybe firefighters that are targeted, and they have to make adjustments during those times. I am hoping that that is not the case here because I've benefited from quick fire responses. I've seen the value in that throughout my entire career in law enforcement and outside of law enforcement. And I know how important it is that firefighters get there for medical or fire emergencies as quickly as possible and start taking action as quickly as possible.
Thank you so much for spending a couple minutes with me here.
No problem. Thank you.
That was former Unified Police Chief Chris Bertram. Utah State Fire Marshal Ted Black tells KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera that he's in shock that someone would want to do this to firefighters.
Would want to injure or, in this case, kill a first responder responding to an emergency. The heinous act in and of itself is terrible. But these firefighters were responding to a fire. They were responding to benefit their community and the state of Idaho. They were there to serve everybody, and to have somebody use that as a means to assassinate, which is what happened, is beyond belief to me.
Fire departments around the state have been sending messages of support to their brothers and sisters in uniform in Idaho. Stick with KSL News Radio as we continue to track the developments in this case and as we gather more response and reaction from firefighters here in Utah. We are still waiting to learn the motive of the alleged shooter, plus the status of the other firefighters. As soon as we know, we'll let you know here on air and online at kslnewsradio.com. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part one in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Kinetico is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result, Kinetico delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Kinetico dealer, Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
The man accused of driving through a horse corral and killing 2 young boys has been sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. He was found guilty on 2 counts of murder back in April. Kent Cody Barlow was on meth and speeding upwards of 117 miles per hour at the time. To bring us the very latest, let's bring in KSL News Radio's Adam Small, who was there in the courtroom. And Adam, what exactly is the sentence?
Well, Maria, so these 2 counts of depraved indifference murder for Kent Cody Barlow, you had mentioned he was found guilty by a jury. A judge today imposed sentences under Utah State Code. When you are convicted of murder, you are to spend no less than 15 years in prison and up to life in prison. Kent Cody Barlow was given 15 years to life for both counts, but the big debate between the prosecution and the defense is whether or not those sentences should run consecutively or concurrently. The judge ordered that those sentences be served consecutively, meaning that Barlow will spend at least 30 years in prison. Again, that has just been there's been a lot of different legal debates in this case. First, whether or not he should have been charged with murder in the first place, which a jury then found he was guilty of. But now in this case, where he is going to have to, instead of potentially serving just 15 years in prison, he is now going to have to serve at least 30 years in prison. That sentence could extend to life. There is a possibility of parole down the road, but that's going to be up to the Board of Pardons and Parole to determine that much later in life. But it was an emotional courtroom. It was packed with family members of both Hunter Jackson and Odin Ratliff, who've been waiting for 3 years to get some kind of closure in this case. But obviously it doesn't take away from the pain that they're feeling now and are going to be living with the rest of their lives. But I think that they were happy that there was some kind of justice served. But I think both sides, including the mother of Kent Cody Barlow, I spoke with all the mothers in this case after the hearing, and they both cited that they felt like there were failures in the legal system leading up to this case. They felt that Kent Cody Barlow had enough of a criminal history that he shouldn't have been out on parole when he did crash into the horse corral, killing Odin and Hunter 3 years ago, and it felt like there was a failure on that end. And also from Kent's mother telling me that she felt there was a failure in that she did everything she could to try to steer him in the right direction as a kid, but she just felt like she didn't get the adequate help she needed. That was, well, there is some closure and some heartfelt, hugs being exchanged here at the courthouse. I think there was also a sense of we need to do better in how we handle children that need help and steering them away from having to spend years in prison.
Thanks, Adam. KSL's Adam Small was in the courtroom when that sentence was announced by the judge. The civil case against BYU quarterback Jake Retzloff dismissed this morning. More on his future now that this sexual assault case is over. That's coming up in just a few minutes. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
Delays have cleared southbound I-15 in Weber County going from Riverdale into Roy, where we had an earlier accident. A KSL texter reporting a crash in Taylorsville, Bangerter Highway 5400 south. I'm not seeing it in the traffic cameras yet, but keep an eye out for that with emergency crews arriving. Common Spirit Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers, all connected to advanced health care in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's going to be a hot one before you know it, and that means now is the time to get your lawn ready with an application of Revive Organic Soil Treatment. Revive takes every drop of water deep down to the roots, where your grass can use it. Use Revive in early summer. It's the protection your lawn needs to stay lush and green during the hot temperatures coming. With Revive, watering twice a week is like watering 4 times a week. You'll save water, you'll save money. Spread it, spray it, use Revive now. It works.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. Be the someone who gives their time. Be the someone who lends an ear. Be the someone who takes a step. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN, asking you to join the fight against sexual violence and volunteer in your community. Log on to rain.org, that's RAINN.org, to learn how you can be the someone.
This message brought to you by the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network and this station.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. The civil lawsuit against BYU quarterback Jake Retzloff alleging sexual assault has been dismissed. The news breaking just before 9 this morning. KSL legal analyst and co-host of Inside Sources, Greg Skordas, breaking down the developments with co-host Holly Richardson.
There's been a joint motion for dismissal filed by both parties dismissing the case, and it's important, the language that they used here, Holly, with prejudice, meaning it could never be filed again, and on the merits. So what they're saying is that it's dismissed, not only it can't be filed again, but they're saying that the case didn't have any merit, that it effectively it shouldn't have been filed in the first place.
Wow. You'll recall the original lawsuit, which was a civil lawsuit, claimed that Retzloff had engaged in unconsensual sexual acts. He and his attorney filed an official response to the court last Friday saying the claims were false and the case was without merit.
The answer is really interesting because, Holly, he was in a little bit of a catch-22, and especially if you understand the honor code violations of BYU.
Yep.
That is to say, do I say in my answer, I didn't do anything, or do you say in your answer, I did something, but it was consensual?
Right.
And he took the second route. He said, here's what we did, here's when we did it. In other words, he agrees with her that they had an encounter, that they met at his apartment, that it was in Provo, and the date, time, and place she indicated, and even admits some of the physical contact that occurred, maybe all of it, but says it was all consensual, and I can prove it. And he goes through a number of things that were really compelling. As I read his answer, I thought, this complaint is falling on its head in a hurry. Wow. I didn't realize it was this big of a hurry because she's dismissed it, filed a motion. I mean, it's just a matter of the judge signing it. Motion to dismiss just this morning.
And the judge did sign the motion, making the dismissal legitimate just before 10 this morning. Even with the case being dismissed, it doesn't mean that Retzloff will be playing for the Cougars again. At question now are the honor code violations. Inside Sources, Holly Richardson explains.
BYU has all of their students and their faculty actually have to agree to abide by the honor code, and that includes no sexual relationships outside of marriage. So he just admitted he violated the honor code. There's some pretty stiff penalties potentially for that, and I know BYU was starting to talk about what some of those might be.
And he was talking about what he might do, and that's another angle to this, Holly. But so the school can do anything from suspending him for a game or two or three, or kicking him off the team and taking a scholarship away. They haven't said what they'll do. And frankly, I mean, the conduct isn't, I mean, I don't want to say egregious or not. I mean, it is what it is. You know, college kids in America do what they do. And it's hard to find it particularly egregious from the civil end or from the criminal end. But from an honor code violation, it's a straight up violation of what the honor code requires.
Right.
And a student athlete at the university, and even students in general, sign an agreement. They're bound by the agreement, and the honor code is what it is.
Rumors have been swirling over the past few days that Retzloff was planning to leave BYU. Could that change now? I asked KSL Sports BYU insider Mitch Harper about it last hour here on Midday.
Yeah, there's still been reports that Retzloff intends to transfer. Now, no official word yet from Retzloff or BYU regarding his status with the program. He is a redshirt senior. This is 2025 is his last year of college eligibility. And, but there has been speculation that he intends to transfer out of BYU as he faces a potential honor code violation, because he did admit to consensual relations that would violate the school's honor code that students are expected to adhere to. So it puts a situation where BYU could be looking for its next quarterback to open up the 2025 season.
Yeah, even if he does stay, the team's still in a tough spot, right?
No question, because Jake Retzloff, he had some ups and downs as a quarterback at BYU, but he was far and away, BYU's best option, to the point where BYU offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick said earlier in the winter that, he felt Jake Retzloff could maybe be potentially a top 5 quarterback in college football this year. Now, if he was actually going to be that was to be seen, if he had to take another jump in his progression. But, it would be a loss for BYU to not have Jake Retzloff, but they do have options in that quarterback room with Trayson Bourget, McKay Hillstead, and then a true freshman from Stanford in Bear Bachmeyer as well.
We will continue to track where Retzloff ends up, and if he does leave BYU, and if he does leave, who might take the helm of leading the Cougars football team. We'll be watching that closely, too. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Republican senators hoping to change the one big beautiful bill ahead of President Trump's July 4th deadline. What things are Utahns searching for on Google? I speak one-on-one with a search trends expert. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
We do have smoke drifting across the roadway from a vehicle fire in the Taylorsville, West Jordan area, northbound Bangerter at 6200 South. Maria?
Looking for a high today of 97. KSL's top local stories in 1 minute, but first, the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The Senate is holding a marathon session as Republicans try to pass the massive budget bill by a July 4th deadline. It includes tax breaks for the wealthy.
To pay for those, Republicans are cutting things like Medicaid by imposing new work requirements, as well as dealing with something called the provider tax, which helps states fund their various Medicaid obligations. They've also got new work requirements that are imposed on SNAP, food assistance, and it changes the funding mechanism for the first time in SNAP's history and makes states have to pay more for their various SNAP programs by either a 5 to 25% percentage.
ABC's Jay O'Brien. President Trump pushing for a Gaza ceasefire deal and the release of all hostages. It comes as the IDF carried out a strike today, killing dozens at a Gazan cafe. The Intercontinental Exchange shows the U.S. dollar is having its worst first half of the year since 1973, down 10.58% in the first 6 months due to President Trump's tariffs. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. We're now learning the identity of a motorcyclist who was killed in a crash on I-84 on Friday. Officials say 62-year-old Justin Smith from South Ogden was traveling eastbound when he veered into the median on the left shoulder and was thrown from the bike. He died at the scene. UHP says they are unsure why he veered off to the left since the road was curving to the right in that section. After 2 firefighters were gunned down while responding to a blaze in Idaho, Utah State Fire Marshal is speaking out, calling the attack senseless and heartbreaking. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera has local reaction.
It's the kind of tragedy that shakes every firefighter to their core, not just in Idaho, but here in Utah, too. State Fire Marshal Ted Black tells me he's devastated by what happened in Coeur d'Alene. Firefighters rushed in to do their job and never made it out.
There is no excuse for this. Mental health tragedy is not an excuse for you to take somebody's life when they are there to provide service to the public. And the message needs to be, there is no excuse for this.
He says his team is doubling down on situational awareness, and like departments across the country, they're reviewing how to keep first responders safe. And if Idaho calls for help, he says Utah will answer. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
A Cottonwood Heights dance studio owner is now under arrest, accused of abusing young girls in the program. Police documents say several underage victims have come forward, accusing 46-year-old Mark Cameron of calling the dancers into his office, locking the door, and sitting them on his lap while he touched them inappropriately. Police also stated in documents they believe Cameron is a flight risk because he allegedly fled the United Kingdom after similar accusations were made. Other local stories KSL is following. Gen Z is doing better in the housing market than previous generations at the same age. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Gen Z makes up 1 in 4 first-time homebuyer loans from the first quarter of this year, according to data from Intercontinental Exchange. The percentage is even higher in states like South Dakota, Indiana, and Kentucky, where home prices in general are below average. Data from Redfin says home ownership rates for adult Gen Z members are about 28%. At the same age, a little under 24% of Gen Xers owned a home, and Gen X had some of the highest mortgage rates in history at that time, with millennials going through the Great Recession.
Redfin economists say many Gen Zers likely bought homes during the pandemic when the mortgages were low. They are also financially savvy and have done their research before jumping into the housing market. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 225 points, more than 0.5%, sitting at 44,045. S&P 500 up by 29. The NASDAQ up by 102 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
And we do have a road closure due to a crash and vehicle fire. Northbound Bangerter Highway is now closed at 6200 South. Traffic is backing up in the area. You do need to find an alternate route. Don't miss the 91st annual Ute Stampede Rodeo with Extreme Bulls on July 9th through 12th. Athletes and explosive entertainment combined with music, food, and multiple days of family fun. Visit UtestampedeRodeo.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Staying in the upper to mid-90s for the first half of the week with a 30% chance of showers on Wednesday and Thursday. The temperature dropping down to 89 on Thursday. 92 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
1877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So, I was taking my side hustle full-time.
Bold move, my friend.
And I needed to find everything in one stop.
Like finding Bigfoot riding a unicorn.
Yes, so I hit the Staples Easy button. Staples had everything for a new office and print services for signs and brochures. Plus, Cindy, the Staples associate, helped me find the best tech for me.
Wait, no drama?
No, Staples made it easy.
For the products, services, and experts your business needs. Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Okay, that's the spirit. Right now, we're celebrating free with a free STP oil filter when you buy 5 quarts of oil and free Duralast brake pads when you buy 2 rotors. Like always, free battery testing, charging, and recycling at every store. Celebrate free at AutoZone, now through July 28th.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
You were listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. The one big beautiful bill, will it pass in time for the July 4th holiday? The Senate has made a number of changes to the proposal, and it still doesn't have enough support yet. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt this morning during a press briefing adding an urgent call to the U.S. Senate still debating the bill.
The White House and the President are adamant that this bill is passed and that this bill makes its way to his desk. Republicans need to stay tough and unified during the home stretch.
North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis refusing to give in to President Trump's threats of a primary if he didn't vote for the bill. The Republican saying shortly after that he will still not vote for the bill and that he won't be seeking re-election.
But what we're doing, because we've got a view on an artificial deadline on July 4th that means nothing but another date and time, we could take the time to get this right if we lay down the House mark of the Medicaid bill and fix it.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer commenting on Senator Tillis's lack of support for the mega bill.
It's a piece of legislation that Tillis can't sell back home, and you won't be able to either, my Republican colleagues.
Let's get the latest from Deseret News congressional reporter Cami Mondo. Cami, thanks for being with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's being called a vote-a-rama for the bill today. Can you explain what's happening right now in the Senate?
Yeah, absolutely. So when they go through with this process known as reconciliation, which allows them to avoid that 60-vote filibuster, it opens up this process called a vote-a-rama, which allows lawmakers to introduce an unlimited number of amendments. So as you can expect, Democrats who are not going to be able to stop this bill from happening, most likely, they're able to introduce as many amendments as they can to really drag out this process. So it started out at 9 a.m. Eastern time this morning. It just passed 3:30, and we haven't even gotten to the amendments yet because they're really dragging out this process with procedural votes and really trying to make this last and be as painful as possible for their GOP colleagues.
So what are some of the bigger changes that have already been made to the package?
Right. So compared to the House package, the Senate version makes a couple of different changes related to Medicaid, green energy tax credits. Some of those changes actually may be changed again before we even get to the final vote. A lot of these amendments have to do with specific policies that have to do with Medicaid. For example, provider taxes, that was a big hang-up that Republicans have been debating over the last few weeks. There's a few changes with green energy tax credits, but we really won't know what is in the bill until we get to the final vote, and that won't happen for several more hours.
Okay, we know that Senator Lee's public lands sale is no longer in the bill. What happened there?
Right, and so Senator Lee had rewritten this provision several different times, trying to get people on board with it. At the end of the day, it seemed that there just wasn't enough support. Both Republican senators from Idaho and both Republican senators in Montana said they would vote against it. That would have tanked it altogether. There were also some Republicans in the House who said that they would vote against the package if it was included. And so it seems that Mike Lee just kind of, took it out altogether just to avoid those problems.
So even if the Senate passes a budget bill, it doesn't go straight to the president's desk, right?
Correct. So any changes that they make, which it seems like they will be pretty big, it will have to go back to the House because they do have to pass the exact same version. And so with all of these changes, no matter what, it will have to go back to the House, where some Republicans are already, saying they don't like this new version, and it looks like it's going to be an uphill battle even after we get through with this vote-a-rama.
Have both Utah senators said that they will support this bill?
So both Mike Lee and John Curtis have some amendments filed. As of right now, it could depend on what happens to those. John Curtis has been a little bit more open, saying, that he could support this. He does have an amendment that has to do with green energy tax credits. Mike Lee has been a little more on the fence. There's a few amendments that he has filed that he actually held up votes over the weekend to try and get those amendments on the floor. It's not entirely clear that if those amendments fail, if he would still support the full package.
We heard those sound bites from Senator Tillis saying that he does not support the bill. Have you heard from other Republican senators who say they won't support the bill?
Yes, so Senator Tillis, he said he's a no. Senator Rand Paul has also said he's a no from the beginning because of a provision that would increase the debt ceiling, so he is another no. There are a few others who have kind of been in and out. Ron Johnson has kind of said that he would be a no, so that brings it down to 3, which at that point would need to bring in Vice President Vance to break a tie. Any more than that, it could be a failed vote on the floor.
So does it look like they're going to make this July 4th deadline? I mean, they don't want to be in Washington for the 4th.
Right, and it really is this, big push, and the House Republicans have already been hearing from leadership over the weekend that they want to be back by Wednesday morning. But right now, the Senate is taking so long to get this bill across the finish line, it could slip past that deadline. But GOP leaders are saying that they're going to try every trick in their book to get it done.
We heard Senator Tillis say that there's no reason for a July 4th deadline. So why did the president set that date for this to happen?
Right, and I've talked to a ton of Republican lawmakers on the House and Senate side who have kind of told me that this deadline seems arbitrary, that they should really take their time with it. John Curtis has kind of agreed with that as well. He says we should take our time and not rush anything. At the beginning of this year, House Republicans laid out this really ambitious timeline that they would get it through the House by Memorial Day and the Senate by July 4th. Really no reason for those days. I think that lawmakers just love to give themselves a deadline so that they actually work fast. But also when it's a holiday, it kind of incentivizes lawmakers to work a little faster so they can go home to spend time with their families.
We have heard that one of the biggest sticking points is Medicaid. Where does that stand at this point?
That's still one of those issues that I think, as you said, is one of the more contentious issues. It also is one that hasn't been totally worked out yet. There are still some amendments that are being brought up on the floor, some amendments that are still being written, and the parliamentarian has to rule on a few more provisions. For example, the proposal to cut Medicaid funding to go toward Planned Parenthood, that has not yet been decided, and the bill is supposed to be on the floor in the next couple of hours. So Medicaid is really looking a little bit iffy. We still don't know the full provisions of what Medicaid would look like under this proposal.
Yeah, they've mentioned this work provision. What is that?
Right. So one of the bigger sticky points is what they really want is to include and increase the work requirements that would be required for Medicaid coverage. As of right now, there are some exceptions, or they really want to make those stricter work requirements so that it would actually remove some people from the list, but it would actually just make sure that, whoever is receiving Medicaid, they say is actually working for, especially if they're able-bodied adults.
Gabby, thanks for bringing us up to date. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That is Deseret News congressional reporter Cami Mondo. Midday with Maria Shilaos continues in just 60 seconds.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they helped me. They calmed me down. They made me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
We're almost done with the first month of hurricane season, and this season is shaping up to be a busy one. But cuts to NOAA, which go into effect today, mean that the organization won't be able to receive as much data from the Department of Defense. Meteorologist Dan Peck joins ABC's Stephen Portnoy to explain his storm tracking concerns after NOAA cuts on today's Start Here podcast.
Tomorrow's July 1st, and that means we'll be entering the second month of the hurricane season. This morning, a rather small named tropical storm called Barry is sort of scraping its way up the Mexican Gulf Coast, dropping heavy rain, while another storm named Flossie is expected to skirt Mexico's Pacific coastline tomorrow. Forecasters at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration say they expect this to be an above-normal season, with as many as 3 to 5 major hurricanes. It's why some scientists are alarmed by a move by the Pentagon to stop the flow of data from 3 government weather satellites starting today.
what was announced a few days ago that was as of or no later than June 30th, this data will no longer be shared with NOAA, meaning that this will not be available to forecasters.
ABC News meteorologist Dan Peck explains that these systems are run jointly by NOAA and the Defense Department. What Dan can't explain is why this is happening. NOAA told the AP that the data cutoff is a routine matter and that other satellites and systems are fully capable of providing gold standard weather forecasting. Some experts aren't so sure about that.
From a science perspective, there really is no reason why we wouldn't want this information, as it's crucial for hurricane forecasts and making them as accurate as possible.
Typical weather satellites offer pretty straightforward top-down images of storms, but the microwave data offered by the Defense Meteorological Satellite Program allows forecasters to sort of see in a third dimension underneath the clouds.
They can provide storm data during the night and also on cloudy days where you have a really thick cloud cover, so these microwave instruments are able to pierce through.
The fear is that without a robust amount of microwave data, forecasters might miss the rapid intensification of storms.
If we lose this information or it becomes more sporadic or not as high resolution, there's the potential that we could miss how strong a storm might be strengthening if we're not getting the best, data possible throughout the time of the storm.
One researcher called the move alarmingly bad news, even insanity. It comes as NOAA has seen substantial DOGE-related staffing reductions in recent months. Weather balloon launches have been curtailed. But the National Hurricane Center itself is said to have been spared from those cuts, and NOAA said earlier this month it would be adding jobs in what it called mission-critical field positions. It's still unclear exactly why the microwave data is being turned off, but Dan Peck says as storms become more frequent and intense, the data disruption risks slowing forecasts down.
The weather doesn't stop, and sometimes those extra minutes make a big difference.
ABC Stephen Portnoy and meteorologist Dan Peck there. What are Utahns searching for the most on Google right now? I sat down with the Google Search Trends expert to get the answers. That's coming up after the break. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
In the Taylorsville, West Jordan area, Bangerter Highway is closed northbound due to a vehicle fire at 6200 South. All traffic is being pushed off at the ramp. And we also have traffic that's a little busy and slow northbound I-15 as you're going from 3300 to 2100 South. Don't miss the 91st annual Ute Stampede Rodeo with Extreme Bulls on July 9th through 12th. Athletes and explosive entertainment combined with music, food, and multiple days of family fun. Visit UteStampedeRodeo.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
Cactus and Tropical celebrates 50 years on July 5th. Visit any of their 3 locations and receive 50% off a single item, drawings, plus the greenhouse show with Ton and me. We will be live at the Salt Lake store. That is Cactus and Tropicals.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Home sellers, do not lose money selling your home the old way. Make more money when you sell your home with a Bank Buster loan. This is Rod with the Save Right Realtor team at Realty Path. Average interest rates are in the mid to high sixes, but Save Right Realtors will market your home with a fixed rate as low as 4.75%. The ultra-low Bank Buster rate gives buyers monthly payments that are hundreds less than comparable homes. When your home is much more affordable, you get a larger pool of potential buyers who can buy your home. When buyers compare homes and see your home is hundreds less per month, you'll get a quicker offer and a higher sale price. Do not lose money selling your home the old way. Sell faster and make more money. Sell with Save Right. Sell with the Bank Buster loan. Call 801-APPROVE or visit saveright.com.
You've heard me talk about some of our great local companies and the great job they do. Salt Lake City Fat Loss to help me lose more than 40 pounds. Oakdale Organic Compost. Olson's Greenhouse. You know, I always love talking about their great products and local services. Now, if your company wants to get its story out and reach more people, you can learn more about how you can do that here on Midday. And it's easy to find out more just by texting the word Midday. That's Midday, just one word, Midday, to 57500. I'd love to talk about your company.
Hi, this is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Every 2 minutes, another American is sexually assaulted. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, you are not alone. Help is just a call or click away through the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Please call 1-800-656-HOPE, that's HOPE, or visit RAIN.org, that's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
This is Midday with Maria Shilaos. Google search trends are showing what is top of mind for Utahns as the summer heats up. Google search trends expert Charity Mendy tells me that many of us are Googling vacation spots, food, and goodbyes over the 4th of July. What are you seeing as far as what we're searching for here in Utah?
The month has been super busy. I think between food and travel and TV, everyone's got something to look forward to. So one thing that's been top of mind for a lot of people is reality TV. In fact, Love Island USA was the top trending search show this past month. We've seen a lot of interest in Love Island across the United States. And obviously, depending on where you are, it may change slightly. But the overwhelming thing that we see is that people are searching for the show, particularly across the country. In terms of regional nuances, I know food is usually a big divider. We see a lot of people searching, particularly when it comes to things like 4th of July. We saw a lot of interest in things like chili dog versus Chicago style hot dog. We see a lot of people in places like Connecticut searching for things like chili dogs, Mississippi as well. And then Chicago style hot dog has been trending in places like Oklahoma and Hawaii.
Okay, so are Utahns into chili dogs?
Well, everyone is into lots of different things when it comes to food, but I think what's interesting kind of more broadly, like I love looking at regional nuances. In the southern US and Northeast, we saw people search for things like beach trip more so than the rest of the country. And in northern US and Alaska, people were searching for lake trip.
I want to go back to the Love Island thing for just a moment because I think there's particular interest here in Utah due to the fact that there is a Utahn. Is it a Utahn or is it, well, describe for me why you think that is.
Well, I mean, hometown pride is always a big thing. We see that when it comes to things like sports and any other things where, you know, you have a hometown hero. One of the top trending characters from Love Island this past month was Paige DeZarbo. She got an all-time high in top trending searches. She's a former cast member of the Bravo reality TV show Summer House, and she was also a guest host.
Okay, and why is she trending? This has a lot to do with her cosmetic procedures that I've kind of seen on social media.
Well, I think what's interesting when it comes to reality is we see a lot of crossover between the shows. So obviously she was on Summer House and now she's on Love Island. We also saw Ariana Madix trending. She's the host of overall Love Island USA. And people were searching for her because of her crossover with the Bravo reality show, TV show Vanderpump Rules.
I'm amazed at how popular reality TV remains. I mean, I could see it in the early days, but the fact that it's continuing, I don't know what, a decade or two later, it seems amazing to me.
Yeah, I think people want that injection of reality, but also want to binge on something which is fun and kind of slip away from their everyday lives in, their screen.
Okay, we've talked about food. We've talked about Love Island. What else are people excited about? What are they searching for?
Yeah, well, it's coming up to 4th of July, and one thing that people always look for is deals. Deals around, big holidays are a big thing. We actually saw surging interest in things like red polka dot bikini, which has seen a 10-year high. We've also seen things like linen, that's at an all-time high. And if you're looking for a deal on your favorite summer outfit, you can actually go to Google and search deals, and you'll see deals on a range of different product items, from fashion to personal tech to even things for your home and your garden.
Yeah, people definitely want those summer accessories. I know that I even searched for patio furniture. Give me a deal on patio furniture.
Yeah, you can actually find deals for things like that for your home. One of the cool ways to search for deals around 4th of July is also, if you go into Google and type in 4th of July deals, you'll see things that will help you for whether you're hosting something or you just wanted to get in the spirit of 4th of July as well.
Okay. Anything else fun you want to tell us about?
Yeah, so one of the cool things that's related to 4th of July is also travel. People are coming to Google Maps to search for, whether it's destinations or interesting experiences that they can, use for the long weekend. According to Google Map reviews, the most popular spots to watch fireworks this year are the Niagara Falls in the US, Stone Mountain Park in Georgia, and even Coors Field in Colorado. So really a lots of excitement to kind of be out in nature and kind of see the big show on, the big stage almost.
Charity, we appreciate your time. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Thank you so much.
And that was Google search trends expert Charity Mendy, and it is going to be hot if you are headed outdoors. We are looking to close to 100 degrees for the next couple of days. And since the heat is on here in Utah, sure sign that it's summer. Coming up in the next hour, I have some tips for you for protecting your pets during the high temperatures. That's coming up in the next hour of Midday. We hope that you'll stay with us right here on KSL News Radio.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
More than 70 million people expected to travel this week for the July 4th holiday. Are you one of them?
The FAA expecting this week to be the busiest in the skies in 15 years, and AAA project a record 72 million Americans will travel at least 50 miles from home.
The time is 2 o'clock on Monday, June 30th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, summer travel. We have special coverage on flights and the roads, plus more on what you will pay at the pump. Also this hour,
a couple party houses if they had a couple short-term rentals in their immediate vicinity in their neighborhood.
Housing troubles near Bear Lake, thanks in part to short-term vacation rentals. I'll tell you about a new study that looks closer at this kind of impact to Utah's housing. But first, our top stories. The sexual assault civil lawsuit against BYU quarterback Jake Retzloff has been dismissed and cannot be filed again. KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas went over the documents that were signed by a judge this morning.
So what they're saying is that it's dismissed. Not only it can't be filed again, but they're saying that the case didn't have any merit, that it effectively it shouldn't have been filed in the first place.
Retzloff's attorney says he will issue a public statement on the dismissal at some point this week. KSL Sports is reporting that Retzloff has already told teammates and coaches he's going to transfer and play his senior season at another university. KSL Sports BYU insider Mitch Harper joined me on Midday to talk about what happens now for Jake Retzloff.
2025 is his last year of college eligibility, and
but there has been speculation that he intends to transfer out of BYU as he faces a potential honor code violation because he did admit to consensual relations that would violate the school's honor code that students are expected to adhere to. So it puts a situation where BYU could be looking for its next quarterback to open up the 2025 season.
He says if he does transfer, BYU does have a few contenders to fill the QB spot, including McKay Hillstead, who transferred from Utah State last year. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Senators on Capitol Hill are expected to be voting and debating into the night on the sweeping budget and tax bill known as the Big Beautiful Bill. The bill will make President Trump's tax cuts from 2017 permanent, but it's not clear whether Senate Republicans will vote yes.
Right now, the Senate is in this vote-a-rama, right? It's voting on a series of amendments that Democrats are putting forward to try to change this legislation that will be unsuccessful, and some amendments that Republicans are putting forward to cut even more, like a Rick Scott proposed amendment to enact further cuts onto Medicaid. Unclear if he's got the support in his own ranks among Senate Republicans to get that over the goal line.
ABC's Jay O'Brien reporting. Other national stories KSL is following. The WNBA has big plans for an expansion over the next few years. ABC's Sherry Preston reports.
Who knows? Maybe the new teams will one day have a victory celebration like the one New York threw last year for the Liberty. The WNBA announcing that over the next 5 years, Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia will all be joining the league. Toronto and Portland will enter next year. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert says the expansion is a powerful reflection for the league's extraordinary momentum, depth of talent, and the surging demand for women's professional basketball. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow right now up by 275 points at the close, sitting at 44,095. S&P 500 up by 32 points, and the NASDAQ gets up by 96 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
Crews still have a vehicle fire they're working to clear in the Taylorsville, West Jordan area, and that means northbound Bangerter Highway is still closed at 6200 South. All traffic will be forced off the road at that point. And we also have a crash northbound I-15 prior to the Bangerter Highway exit. Those vehicles are out of traffic on the shoulder. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Highs near 100 for the next couple of days, and then we get a break on Thursday. The high on Thursday down to 89 degrees, and we do have a 30% chance of showers on Wednesday and Thursday. 93 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Are you struggling with pain in your feet, ankles, knees, hips, or lower back? At the Good Feet store, we recommend having high-quality support in all of your shoes. Our personalized arch support system has helped countless people find relief, like Karen. Here is her Good Feet story.
After I decided my pain was too much, and my doctor actually suggested that I do visit the Good Feet store. Pretty amazing when they put the arch supports in your shoe and you walk around and you realize there's not pain, and you think, how can this arch support in my shoe make my back pain go away? But it works. And how can it make my knee pain go away? It was incredible.
Come to the Good Feet store today and see what we can do for you. Good Feet arch supports are in stock and available in over 300 different styles and sizes.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Stop in today at the Good Feet store.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but What I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
You know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
Yeah, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, anything, you need to tell an adult, someone you know and trust. That can be hard, but speaking up about a problem is what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. As millions of travelers make their way to their July 4th destinations, many facing large crowds and worrisome weather while en route. ABC's transportation correspondent Gio Benitez is at LaGuardia Airport with more.
The FAA expects this to be the busiest week for air travelers in 15 years, with over 300,000 flights scheduled. But many of those making an early start, ending with a travel headache. The rough weather forcing Delta to experience widespread disruptions this weekend, the airline canceling hundreds of flights at its largest hub, Atlanta, because of those strong winds and hail.
Now, what about you? If you're not hitting the skies, are you planning to hit the road this week for the July 4th holiday weekend? It's going to be a busy week on roads across the country and especially here in Utah. But even if you're not traveling this week, you are probably going to go somewhere this summer. And as you prepare to hit the road for the summer holiday season, be aware that gas prices are already making their seasonal creep upward. The reason? Increased demand.
Yeah, right now, in fact, just from yesterday, it's down a penny from where it was yesterday, but about 5 cents up from where it was a week ago. We can't necessarily pinpoint why that is, right? Is that because demand is going to be up for the 4th of July holiday, so there's anticipation, supply and demand there? Is that because oil prices did spike a little bit and have stayed a little higher than they were before bombs were dropped in Iran? That could be it as well. So there's a lot of questions there as to what the cause is, but we have seen a bit of an increase from where we were a week ago.
Despite the increase, John Trainer, who's a spokesperson for AAA Utah, tells KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson the prices at the pump are far better than expected.
Obviously, we're watching what's going on in the Middle East, and that is something that AAA is tracking when it comes to gas prices. And certainly this past weekend, we saw oil prices spike in the immediate aftermath of bombs being dropped in Iran. That was due to the threat from Iran to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, a major thoroughfare for oil. 20% of the global oil supply goes through that strait. So gas prices were threatened to go up because oil prices did spike. Shortly after that, though, Monday morning, oil prices returned really to where they were before. And since then, we haven't seen much of an increase at all. In fact, right now it's $3.36. It's about 12 cents more expensive in Utah than it was a month ago. Only 5 cents more expensive, though, than it was a week ago. What that means is it's something to monitor, something we're watching, but something that we haven't seen an impact from quite yet.
You won't be alone as you head out on your vacation. Trainer says a record number of people are expected to hit the roads.
61.6 million is about 1.5 million more than we saw this time last year driving. So we are seeing an increase from where we were last year. And certainly that's partly because these prices that we're seeing this time are cheaper than they have been in several years for gas prices. So it's been more affordable to take that road trip. And because of that, we're seeing a lot more people driving this week.
While more people will be driving because it's not as expensive as flying, more people will be flying as well. The airlines are expecting a record-breaking week as well. And Trainer says there are also resources available to help you save money as you drive to your destination.
We're all very concerned about where gas prices are going to go, just as a consumer, as someone who fills up their gas tank. The thing I would really recommend is make sure you have an app or a source that you like that can find cheap gas prices in the area. We all have that gas station we do like and we kind of know, but especially if you're going out of town, if you're driving around, have an app that you can use. We obviously recommend the AAA app where you can check prices in the area. Be a smart consumer, right? We are all going to take those road trips. We might be driving around more in the summertime, so know where to shop.
And he says, don't expect the prices to start dropping until after Labor Day.
Labor Day is really the end of the summer driving season. It's when schools are really back in session across the country. People have stopped taking those trips, and we start seeing oil refineries make the shift over to making the winter blend or the more affordable, cheaper version of gasoline. That tends to be when we start seeing prices decline really in earnest end of September, beginning of October. We start seeing those lower prices.
As of this morning, the average price of a gallon of regular gas in Utah, $3.34. The national average is $3.18. Now, for those of you with electric vehicles, don't worry, I didn't forget about you. This afternoon, Rocky Mountain Power is encouraging drivers to take advantage of their growing EV charging network. The chargers are part of a collaboration with Electrify America. Rocky Mountain Power customers can save up to 40% on public charging costs through this program. Plus, people who participate in the Watt Smart Drive program could earn additional annual bill credits through using this EV charging network. New chargers have been installed around the state, and you can find an updated map at rockymountainpower.net/EV. Speaking of roads, Utah's scenic roads are driving the state towards the top of the list of best road trip destinations. A new report from Wallet Hub finds that Utah is the fourth most popular state for road tripping. The ranking is based on cost, safety, and activities. If you look just at scenic roads, the state ranks third, coming in behind Oregon and California. Utah's high number of scenic byways also pushing the state higher in the rankings. Of 184 national scenic byways, Utah has 9. In fact, State Route 12, which goes through Bryce Canyon and Capitol Reef National Parks, is ranked an all-American road. And now, among other things helping Utah rank towards the top is the number and price of 3-star hotel rooms. In just 60 seconds, we'll take a look at how you can best help your pets beat the heat this week and through the rest of the summer. Stay with us.
Held over due to popular demand, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
With temperatures nearing 100 today and tomorrow, veterinarians want you to know that your furry family members can also suffer from heat stroke and burns. The owner of Neighborhood Veterinary Care, known as Lynette the Vet, says you can avoid problems by changing your walking habits.
So the main thing is exercise, best thing early in the morning and later in the evening when the sun kind of has gone down, or at least going down, and when it's cooler. And then it's always wise to at least take some kind of bottled water, or even with the collapsible food bowl, some water, so that they do get overheated. You can give some water. Dogs and cats, they especially dogs, they pant to release heat, whereas we sweat, dogs pant. So they're going to pant, and that's to be expected. But if it's just more than normal, if it's excessive panting, we're starting to drool, our mucous membranes are starting to look pale, starting to get lethargic, vomiting, diarrhea, more difficult breathing, then we really are starting to go into heat stroke. And that usually does happen in the heat of the day. People have to realize that they have fur coats on, and that if you can imagine walking with a fur coat in the heat of the day, you're going to get hot fast. So it's best when it is cooler, but any kind of abnormal collapses, when it gets more severe, they're collapsing and seizuring, and we can lose them. It gets if they go into heat stroke, it's actually hard to get them out of the heat stroke. So hiking up in the mountains, even though it seems a little cooler, they're still walking around with a fur coat on, walking up on the hot rocks, that kind of thing. So again, making sure to always have water sources with you, making sure to always offer them some water. Try not to let them drink out of the rivers or the lakes, that kind of thing, because they can have infection in there. Now, if you think they're getting overheated, putting them there to cool them down is fine. You can put them into the water to help cool them down, but try not to let them necessarily drink it. Always have some fresh water sources. People also have to realize that asphalt, even in 70-degree weather, the asphalt can heat up 40 to 50 degrees higher. So they're talking, if they're walking on something, if it's like 70 degrees out, that asphalt can be, 120 degrees. So the paw pads, they have to be very sensitive to paw pads. Don't take them for long walks on the pavement. And it takes a while for the animal to acclimate, their paw pads to acclimate. So through the winter, they're not doing a lot of walking. Their paw pads get softened. Don't all of a sudden take them for a 5-mile hike. Their paw pads aren't meant for that. You have to gradually increase that to kind of let the paw pads callus according to the terrain that they're walking on. So taking them on a rocky road right off the bat for 5 miles, their paw pads are not going to do well. So you have to acclimate the paw pads and build up the callus on the paw pads.
The paw pads, heat and heat stroke, not the only issue. Dr. Lynette also says make sure that after a hike you check your dog's paws for foxtails.
Now that it's getting hot, the foxtails start to dry out, and so getting them in between their paw pads. Always check them when you get home. You look in between the paw pads, you look in the ears, that kind of thing. They get into the ear canals, and that's where you will need a veterinarian to get those out. Between the paw pads, if all of a sudden you see a swelling, like a bullous swelling and redness, and you see like a draining hole, then could mean that there's a foxtail up in there.
Now, Dr. Lynette is also advising against taking your dogs to farmers markets.
They don't like it. They don't care to go. So people think it's cute taking their animal to the farmers market. Don't take your animals to the farmers markets. That's one more thing. It's just, I just get so frustrated. They're not having fun. There's other dogs. They get anxious because they're seeing these other dogs. They're hot, and there's too many people. They get very anxious. I would avoid the farmers market.
And again, Dr. Lynette says if your dog pants excessively or drools or vomits or has diarrhea, they could be going into heat stroke. Someone shooting at a house of worship in Spanish Fort causing concern among worshipers. More on that story and the investigation into it in just a few minutes. But first, it's KSL Traffic brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
Bangor Highway still closed northbound due to an earlier vehicle fire at 6200 South and a crash northbound I-15 prior to the Bangor Highway exit. It's causing a little bit of curiosity slowing, but the crash itself is out of traffic on the right shoulder. Jordan Valley Water says we're using about 12% more water than last year, even though we don't need to. Let's fix that. Water one day less each week. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part one in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result? Connecticut delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
We have 5 kids, 2 dogs, and we've bought 4 houses in the last 12 years. So our realtors helped us through the complexities of buying a house, the legalities of different property rights, right-of-ways, building concerns, or even ordinances, right?
If we were to try to do this on our own, we would have made a lot of financial mistakes. The realtor is now part of our family. She's who helps our family get to wherever our next chapter is.
Discover how a realtor can make a real difference at myrealtorstory.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
You were listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. Worshippers at the Spanish Fort Krishna Temple are worried after finding bullet holes in their temple, and whoever is shooting keeps coming back. This afternoon, Utah County Sheriff's Office confirming the reports and an investigation into them. KSL TV's Aaron Cox visited the temple and says people are on edge.
It's a special place.
Vi Warden was the designer, architect, and engineer for the Krishna Temple in Spanish Fork, which makes what happened this weekend even more personal.
After all these years, decades, we've never had such an experience.
Warden says someone shot at the temple multiple times on 3 separate days. Security camera footage shows lights flashing in the corner and a truck passing by, all at the same time. Volunteers heard what sounded like gunshots.
That first window, that's where they hit.
A week and a half ago was the first time Krishna Prestaya says they heard gunshots.
I was a little saddened, to find out that someone is purposefully shooting at our temple and putting us in harm.
Then on Friday morning, they found a bullet hole through the window of their worship room and shell casings outside their gates.
Big handful of casings just right on the road down here.
And on Saturday morning, the sound of shots fired again.
It's been a little disturbing, and a few of our volunteers also have been very affected. One of our members is actually leaving us because of it.
As they try to piece together what's happened, Prestaya says they gave shell casing to deputies with the Utah County Sheriff's Office.
Why bullets? Why spraying bullets?
Warden says a few years back, the Department of Homeland Security recommended they use grant money for security cameras, which they used. But with 15 acres of property, Warden says they need more.
Our grant ran out, and they suggested we get another one this year. We were prepared for that, and then all the federal grants seem to have been shut down.
After 20 years of worship.
It's the first time, and we hope it'll be the last.
Through prayer and song, they're hoping for peace and answers too.
We're appealing to the local community to be alert. We want to protect this sacred land. It is very sacred, and everyone acknowledges that.
Utah County Sheriff's Office asks that anyone with information on the shooting call Central Dispatch at 801-798-5600. In other news, you've heard of people running marathons or ultra races, but what about doing it all on a treadmill for 24 hours straight? A group of athletes in South Jordan did just that over the weekend. KSL 5 TV's Emma Benson has more on this true test of endurance.
We are starting!
At 21 Run, a treadmill-only gym in South Jordan, the machines aren't just for casual joggers today. They're hosting a first-of-its-kind ultra marathon.
The faster they run, the more time they'll have in between each round.
The race began early this morning with 18 competitors, each pushing themselves to run 5 miles every hour until the last man or woman is left standing.
There's a good chance we're going to be here all night long.
It's a treadmill showdown, with local athletes competing virtually against a gym in Florida. Many runners are expected to keep going for 24 hours or more. With music blasting, treadmills whirring, and sweat pouring, these ultra runners are grinding through mile after mile, hour after hour.
It's like there's a little bit of momentum and it feels good, and then other times you're kind of in the hurt locker and just hanging on for dear life.
It's so fun to be able to, you can go your own pace, you can go what makes sense for you, but also have that camaraderie of running with a crew, so I love it.
Each time a runner decides they're done, they step off the treadmill and ring the bell, a mark of pride no matter the distance.
I hope they keep doing it, and I hope it gets more and more popular.
And for the athletes and organizers, this is only the start, with fresh goals and events on the horizon.
That's what we try to do here, is just push limits, and that's what they're doing.
That is KSL 5 TV's Emma Benson reporting. Nationally, we're continuing to watch the vote-a-rama taking place on the floor of the U.S. Senate. It's all happening as Congress works to pass President Trump's one big, beautiful bill. Deseret News' Cami Mondo joined me last hour on the discussion and the amendments that the Senate is trying to pass.
So when they go through with this process known as reconciliation, which allows them to avoid that 60-vote filibuster, it opens up this process called a vote-a-rama, which allows lawmakers to introduce an unlimited number of amendments. So as you can expect, Democrats who are not going to be able to stop this bill from happening, most likely, they're able to introduce as many amendments as they can to really drag out this process. So it started out at 9 a.m. Eastern time this morning. It just passed 3:30, and we haven't even gotten to the amendments yet because they're really dragging out this process with procedural votes and really trying to make this last and be as painful as possible for their GOP colleagues.
The Senate continues to discuss the bill right now. Cami says a few Republican senators are still planning to vote no.
Senator Tillis, he said he's a no. Senator Rand Paul has also said he's a no from the beginning because of a provision that would increase the debt ceiling, so he is another no. There are a few others who have kind of been in and out. Ron Johnson has kind of said that he would be a no. So that brings it down to 3, which at that point would need to bring in Vice President Vance to break a tie. Any more than that, it could be a failed vote on the floor.
We will continue to watch it here at KSL News Radio and bring you the latest updates as Congress tries to get the bill passed before July 4th. It's 2:30 midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour: short-term rentals impacting housing around Utah, especially in vacation hotspots. Could a simple plant, a single piece of greenery, improve your kids' grades? Well, I'll tell you about that shortly. And we'll take a look at KSL traffic. Ricky?
Good news for drivers in West Jordan and Taylorsville. Bangerter Highway is now open northbound at 6200 south from the earlier vehicle fire. Maria?
It's crazy. We are headed for a high near 100 degrees for the next couple of days. Then we drop to 95 Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we're going to get a bit of a break and be down to 89 degrees. We do have a 30% chance of showers on those 2 days. ABC News is next.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Senate Republicans locked in a marathon session as they try to pass a massive mega bill for President Trump's domestic agenda. ABC's Jay O'Brien has more.
Right, it's voting on a series of amendments that Democrats are putting forward to try to change this legislation that will be unsuccessful, and some amendments that Republicans are putting forward to cut even more, like a Rick Scott proposed amendment to enact further cuts onto Medicaid. Unclear if he's got the support in his own ranks among Senate Republicans to get that over the goal line.
State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce today says 16 flights have departed Israel with over 650 U.S. citizens since the Israel-Iran conflict escalated. In northern Idaho, officials identified the gunman who shot and killed, they say, 2 firefighters and injured a third. Police say Wes Rowley started that brush fire to lure firefighters to the scene, and police say they located the gunman on a nearby ridge and say that he died. Stocks ended up adding to gains from last week. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. A man found guilty of killing 2 Eagle Mountain toddlers 3 years ago has been sentenced to 30 years to life behind bars. KSL News Radio's Adam Small was in the courtroom today.
A jury found Kent Cody Barlow guilty of depraved indifference murder when he was high on meth and going roughly 120 miles an hour when he crashed his car into a horse corral where 3-year-olds Odin Ratliff and Hunter Jackson were playing. Now, the court was packed today and tears seemed to flow nonstop as families of both the boys and Barlow gave emotional testimony about how this case has weighed on them for the last 3 years.
Barlow also spoke for the first time in court. He tearfully apologized to the family, saying that he wished he could take it all back. A woman convicted of killing her 2 children in Layton 15 years ago will be sentenced today. Sun Chalwar Holas pleaded guilty but mentally ill in June of 2024 to 2 counts of first-degree murder for the deaths of her kids, 8-year-old James and 7-year-old Jean Marie Warola. Now, her sentencing should be getting underway right now at the district courthouse in Farmington. After the deadly shooting of 2 firefighters in Idaho over the weekend, Utah State's fire marshal says the tragedy is a stark reminder that even first responders aren't immune to violence. Ted Black says he's talking to teams across Utah about staying alert and says this moment calls for more awareness from everyone.
We do need to be aware that we live in a dangerous world, and we need to broaden our perspective or broaden our view of what's going on around us.
Black says Utah is ready to assist if Idaho calls and that firefighter safety is top of mind. A bicyclist has been life-flighted to the hospital after a car hit them in Kaysville. Police say it happened around 9 this morning along the rail trail near Smith's Marketplace. The bicyclist had multiple injuries, including head trauma. Their condition is unknown. The investigation is ongoing. Other local stories KSL is following. The state of Utah is going after Snapchat, claiming the app makes money off the exploitation of children. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
This is the state's 4th lawsuit against social media companies. It alleges Snapchat knowingly puts children in danger, using addictive tactics, and then failing to provide actual safety features. The lawsuit accuses Snapchat of misrepresenting safety features to parents, and tests have showed just how easy it is to get around them. Executive Director for the Utah Department of Commerce, Margaret Woolley-Bussey, says the app is also breaking the law by failing to disclose how it gets and shares data.
Snapchat responded to our request for comment, saying that they are committed to making Snapchat a safe and fun environment for the community, and they have built in privacy and safety features into their service from the start. Taking a look at your money at this moment, at the close, the Dow up by 275 points, sitting at 44,095. S&P is up by 31 points. The NASDAQ is up by 96 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
We do have a small accident southbound I-15 in Kaysville, but it looks like everybody is out of traffic on the shoulder. However, it is part of that stretch where we have the delays due to road work as you go from the ponds down to Lagoon in Farmington. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Couple of days near 100 degrees. Then on Wednesday, the temperature is starting to move downward. Wednesday, the high 95 down to 89 on Thursday with a 30% chance of showers. 93 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio. I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. 'Cause I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So, I was taking my side hustle full-time.
Bold move, my friend.
And I needed to find everything in one stop.
Like finding Bigfoot riding a unicorn.
Yeah, so I hit the Staples Easy button. Staples had everything for a new office and print services for signs and brochures. Plus, Cindy, the Staples associate, helped me find the best tech for me.
Wait, no drama?
No, Staples made it easy.
For the products, services, and experts your business needs. Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app.
We are watching breaking news here at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos on Midday. A White House official says President Trump will host Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for talks at the White House next Monday. The visit comes as the U.S. leader has begun stepping up his push on Israeli government to broker a ceasefire and hostage agreement and bring about an end to the war in Gaza. The official was not authorized to comment publicly on the visit, which has not been formally announced yet. For many of you heading out on vacation this week, are you planning to stay in a hotel, RV, or camper, or in a short-term vacation rental like an Airbnb or Vrbo? They're popular lodging choices nowadays, but they are not without issues. For many locals, it's pricing them out of their homes. Short-term vacation rentals are creating a number of challenges here in Utah and in Idaho for residents who live around Bear Lake. A study done by students at Utah State University shows how the fast-growing rental market is putting a lot of pressure on things like housing and having a negative impact on the neighborhood experience. PhD student Alex Theophilus joined me to talk about their key findings. Alex, tell us about the study. What have you found? How are vacation rentals impacting people or the housing market near Bear Lake?
I would say people's concerns could be mostly divided into kind of two camps. There were concerns about housing and how short-term rentals were impacting housing. And there were also concerns about how short-term rentals were impacting community and kind of the community feel that people expect with a lot of the smaller towns around Bear Lake. And a lot of times people expressed both of those concerns in the same interviews, but those were just kind of the two broad categories that people's thoughts about short-term rentals could be put in. And in terms of housing, people had concerns that short-term rentals are taking up housing stock that could be used for people who want to live in the Bear Lake area. And people were also concerned that developers might be encouraged to build new houses specifically for the short-term rental market, and that oftentimes those houses that they're building for short-term rentals wouldn't necessarily be something that could realistically appeal to people who need or want to live in the area for more of the year.
How have all of these short-term rentals impacted how they feel about their community?
People had kind of a sense that the kind of community feel and like small town vibe that places like Garden City or Fish Haven or St. Charles have is being negatively impacted by short-term rentals, where there's this kind of constant revolving door of new like weekly or weekend renters. and that they don't have that same kind of relationship with their neighbors that they once did. Like, people talked about how their kids might not have as many neighborhood kids to play with as they once did because short-term rentals are taking up houses in their neighborhood, and they don't have that same kind of tight-knit relationship with their neighbors that they wish they had. And people also talked about issues like parking or noise or trash that were just kind of providing nuisances in the neighborhood that were not pleasant to deal with. And it kind of felt like they were living next door to a couple party houses if they had a couple short-term rentals in their immediate vicinity in their neighborhood. And this was also kind of nested within some people's fear that the Bear Lake area is growing too fast in terms of tourism, and that especially kind of since 2020 and the COVID pandemic, there's been a rise in tourism and a rise in people moving to the area that is just kind of bringing more growth than the Bear Lake area had kind of planned for, and that there are some struggles as the area tries to adapt to those changes without losing kind of the small town feel and the tight-knit communities and the kind of environmental resources that people have really come to value
Right.
in the Bear Lake area.
Do they have any sorts of ideas of what should happen going forward with growth?
Specifically with short-term rentals, lots of folks talked about how they would really like to see just some kind of tighter regulations around where short-term rentals can and cannot be and how many short-term rentals can be in Rich County and Bear Lake County. Some folks also talked about how they would like to see transient room tax employed on short-term rentals, which would basically just be kind of an additional fee on short-term rental properties that would then provide a little bit more of a financial kickback to like the county or city government that could be used to help the communities manage some of the growth and provide all of the services they need to provide for people who are either living or coming to the Bear Lake area. And we can also look to some other communities in the West, especially. There's a pretty wide variety of strategies that tourism communities have used to regulate short-term rentals. Places have done everything from that kind of transient room tax that tries to provide more of a economic kickback to the local tax base, to like some communities have gone as far as to essentially ban short-term rentals in like traditional single-family homes. So they only will allow short-term rentals to operate in accessory dwelling units, for example. And then there are other places that kind of offer incentives for property owners who might otherwise rent their property on like Airbnb or VRBO to rent those properties to members of the local workforce. And they will offer sometimes like a few $1,000s even for somebody to rent out their property on either a 6-month or a 12-month lease to somebody who's living and working in the area for that amount of time. So there are a number of different strategies that could potentially be helpful for managing this kind of growth in the short-term rental market in the Bear Lake area. And I think kind of listening to community members and what community members want is the most important thing when it comes to developing those policies.
Alex, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was Utah State University PhD student Alex Theophilus. You can read the full study by visiting usu.edu. More Midday in just 60 seconds. Stay with us.
1 in 6 Utah kids face hunger. And the summer months make things even more challenging because families can no longer rely on school meals to help them get by. These days, the situation is more dramatic than ever. That's why Utah Food Bank is again holding its annual Summer Business Food and Fund Drive, encouraging organizations of all sizes to gather food for donations for families. Beginning in early June and running through the end of August, the Summer Business Food and Fund Drive is your chance to make a difference for families seeking emergency food requests to help stretch their budgets. Rally your coworkers, friends, or a community group of any size to make a collection. Every dollar earned turns into more than $7 in the form of goods and services to help those in need. What are you waiting for? Organize your summer business food and fun drive today. To find out more or to get ideas for your own DIY fundraiser, visit utahfoodbank.org.
Some 50 teenagers who are refugees in Utah got a unique camping experience over the weekend. The Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation brought in the young people together to experience the joy, skills, and confidence that come with spending time in Utah's great outdoors. The division's Caroline Weiler says many of the teens have never camped before.
This is our first time inviting refugees to an Every Kid Outdoors event. We've had 5 Every Kid Outdoors events previously to this one this year as we're launching this new program in 2025. But this is the first time we've invited specifically refugee teenagers to come experience our events. We love diversifying our population, and Utah is so rich with so many different cultures as we bring new members of our community together. So today we really wanted to partner with groups like the International Rescue Committee, Catholic Community Services, and the Utah International Charter School, and invite their students to come and participate in our offerings, and along with Summit Journeys.
Summit Journeys Executive Director Martin Fry says it's his goal to provide transformational experiences for young people,
so that they can start and experience something that's maybe challenging for them, but that they can learn from that challenge and grow past their preconceived ideas of who they are and what they can do. And so we're really enabling them to build confidence and self-efficacy and belief in their own capability to achieve their goals, and also increase their tolerance for uncertainty. And then we're also obviously building character strengths like perseverance and leadership and all of that.
Sage Paulson with the International Rescue Committee says camping in Utah is a much different experience than what these teens have experienced in their own countries.
Being outdoors here in Utah is very different for a lot of the refugees and new Americans that we work with. Although they have their own environments in their home countries, Utah obviously is very unique with our snow and our desert heat. And so being able to bring youth out to Utah and show them, you know, this is your new home and this is how you can engage with the outdoors rather than being afraid of it. Today we have about 17 youth from the International Rescue Committee who have joined us, and we talked with dozens more who were excited but apprehensive to come outside because they have never done something like this. So we're really proud of those 17 youth who took the jump and are trying something new today.
Anas Mohammed is originally from Iraq and Syria, and he's been in the U.S. for 2 years now. He says he's been camping before, but nothing like what he got to experience this weekend.
Once, but it wasn't this much fun. Is good. And I even, I just got to know more people and more friends, and I got them, and they're so perfect.
Anas says getting outside is good for health and that it makes him happy. Throughout the 3 days, campers participated in outdoor leadership training facilitated by Summit Journeys. Activities included team building on a ropes course, a sunrise hike, kayaking, canoeing, and sailing at East Canyon State Park. Evening programs included fire safety demonstrations from the Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands, how to set up and take down a camp, and classic camping traditions like, of course, making s'mores. Don't forget the s'mores. The event was made possible through strong partnerships with organizations including Catholic Community Services, the International Rescue Committee, Utah Refugee Connection, the Utah International Charter School, and Athletics United. Could a simple plant in the classroom improve your children's grades? I'll tell you what new research says about this unlikely connection in just a few minutes. But first, we do have emergency traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky, what's going on?
This is in Davis County. This crash that we have in Kaysville now only has a left lane of southbound I-15 open to all traffic. This crash is after the Kaysville Ponds. You will see that all lanes are blocked except for that left lane, and we're starting to see stop-and-go delays stacking into Layton. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
You've built the dream, the home, the lifestyle, the legacy. Now it's time your windows and doors reflect that same $1 million standard. Whether you're designing a stunning custom home or upgrading the one you've loved for years, Peach Doors and Windows is here to bring that vision to life with precision, style, and craftsmanship.
The Peach specialty? High-end custom windows and doors that don't just fit your space, they elevate it. From sleek modern lines to timeless elegant finishes, they offer the kinds of craftsmanship that truly complements a $1 million space. And with Peach, the process is easy. No pressure, no gimmicks, just knowledgeable experts helping you find solutions to turn your someday project into right now.
Visit their spacious showroom, get inspired, and create something beautiful together. Peach Doors and Windows for the $1 million home you live in and the $1 million feeling you deserve. Visit peachdoorsandwindows.com or call 801-566-1255 today.
That's Peach Windows and Doors. Give them a call, 801-566-1255.
Cactus and Tropicals celebrates 50 years, July 5th. Visit any of their 3 locations. Receive 50% off a single item, drawings, plus KSL's Greenhouse. Yes, Ton and I will be there from 8 to 11 at the Salt Lake store. That's Cactus and Tropicals.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sinks overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hoped it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
Nothing says summer like double rewards on your Mountain America Rewards credit card. Get 2 times the points on everything from gas and groceries to travel and home projects. Now through July 31st, 2025. Oh, wow. It's the perfect way to stretch your dollar and make summer doubly rewarding. Apply for your Mountain America Rewards credit card at macu.com/double. Loans on approved credit. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Midday with Maria Shilaos. You may have heard the old saying that keeping flowers around can brighten your mood. Works for me. Well, some people say you don't even need flowers, you just need plants in general. That may work for your home and maybe even your office, but what about at school? Can plants help your kids do better in the classroom? According to a new study from Weber State University, the answer is yes. Associate Professor of Psychological Science Sarah Herman says their multi-year study shows that a plant can really help improve grades.
If you take a class and you put a plant in it,
grades go up significantly. So we saw that between fall 2023 and fall 2024, if you put a plant in the classroom, then you get significantly higher grades, whereas in classes that previously had no plant and currently have no plant, there was no significant difference in performance. So that would suggest that plants are improving performance, especially in these more difficult classes that tend to have lower grades on average.
All right, here we thought it was all about mood, but it's actually about performance as well. She tells KSL News Radio's Josue Sanchez that it doesn't matter what kind of plant is in the classroom, just any old green plant will work.
So past research suggests that it doesn't really matter what kind of plant you have, truly just having any green in a, in a space that doesn't have any or that doesn't have the nature connectedness, even just having one plant should be beneficial.
Herman says that there's a lot more research to do on the effects of plants in the classroom, so they're not done yet.
What we're doing right now in the project is we're waiting on data from the spring semester to be able to see, when you have different classes in these classrooms, are we seeing the same effects? And this next year, we're actually going to continue the project, but we're switching the plant classrooms. So classrooms that previously did not have a plant will now have a plant in them. And those that did will now no longer. So we'll end up having a larger data set in order to test this effect. We're also looking into whether having a plant in the classroom changes students' perceptions of faculty. So are there differences in course evaluations for classrooms that had plants versus those that did not?
Early results of studying the subjective benefits of plants on students also yielding positive fruit or results.
And in that pilot study where we surveyed students on their subjective experience of the classroom, we found that students who were in a class that was on a day that had plants in the room had significantly higher growth mindset, meaning that they believed that their intelligence was malleable and could be increased with effort, as compared to students who were in a class on a day that it did not have plants. So that may suggest that there is a psychological variable here related to well-being and academic efficacy, which is the belief that you can do your best in a class, that may end up leading down the line to these differences in academic performance.
Herman says the study shows that even making small changes in the classroom can make a large difference on student performance. Or for you, whether you're at home or in the office, having one plant around might make a bigger difference than you originally thought.
I think is indicative that if we make small changes to environmental settings, like simply putting, a plant on the podium in a classroom, then that's one of those factors that can actually end up changing student performance. We tend to, as a society, think about academic ability or intelligence as being fixed, right? That, students are intelligent or not, and they perform well or poorly. And this is just another indication that there are a lot of different factors that contribute to our performance, and it can be as simple as, greening a classroom in a very straightforward way. I would love in the future to expand this to other colleges at the university to see, how students respond in different classrooms across the university. What ends up happening if we do this in health sciences or in the College of Science, in addition to our College of Social and Behavioral Science.
And you can read more about the study by visiting Weber State University's website at weber.edu. And Jeff, I've completely surrounded my desk myself with plants.
You have that gigantic, what is that, a hydroponic? It's like a monster.
It's a hydroponic thing where I'm growing little tomatoes and peppers at my desk. And yeah, I'm completely surrounded by plants. And this must be the reason. It doesn't only improve mood, improves performance. So I must be getting an A.
You're a master of this, so it's clearly the plants, right?
Well, let's hope that that's what it is. Well, no. I'm not going to give the plants all the credit.
When do we get to eat the tomatoes, though?
Not their little green ones. I'm going to say a couple weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Salsa party?
Absolutely. Jeff Kaplan up next. Stay with him.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
And to let you know,